going on, everyone? It's episode 121, recorded on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. I'm Justin, and hey, John and Drew, what does a sign on an out-of-business brothel say? Beat it! We're closed!
You thought last week was bad? Just wait till you hear what Drew and John have to say on a brand new episode of the Dads After Dark show. And here they are.
What is up, everybody? On tonight's show, we are going to talk the Mario movie. What is social gaming and its impact? A new monthly mayhem! And the one and only Mr. Justin Masson, as you heard earlier. Welcome to the show, buddy. It's awesome to be here. What's going on?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to tell stories about my recent experience of being dad taxi and the journey that I'm having taxiing my children all around the city.
I mean, sounds fantastic. Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So my kids are now getting into social calendars and sports. My oldest is playing rugby. My youngest is trying out for badminton. Wow. And so last 2 weeks, I have been like the social dad calendar. I'm dropping kids off. I'm picking kids up. Man, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. And we only live in like a small city. So it's only like 10 to 15 minutes each way. But I feel like I'm just like shuttling people around. And like my kids are like scarfing food in the car. They're eating in the car. They're getting dressed in the car. And then I like push them out the door. But I also find that I don't have enough time anywhere to do anything else. Right? Like I'll then come home for like 15 minutes. Well, I'm not going to come home for 15 minutes and then I drive somewhere else. So now I'm finding myself in like the KFC, parking lot, shamefully eating like a chicken wrap and fries as I wait for my children. And I feel like I'm in a very dangerous place in my life.
I was having a shamrock shake just last week at gymnastics class. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Don't you ever feel like you're sitting there, you're eating this like 1,000-calorie shake and your kids sweating their balls off and you're like, you're doing great, Timmy. Keep it up, Dad. And then they're like, Dad, you got any shake for me? You're like, no, that was the last one. But how's your water tasting? Right? Like real asshole parenting.
I mean, that's the truth to a T. I mean, you can't do any more than that. I mean, what's going up in the up in the north there? Rugby and badminton, huh? Are those like common sports up there?
Well, they're doing a lot of indoor training, right? It's the Great White North. It's a tundra. It was minus 20 degrees Celsius last week up here. So they're doing a lot of indoor training and that kind of stuff. But so that when nice weather does arrive, we want to be well prepared. We shed off our winter coats and our thermal underwear and we just jump right into life. So that's what we do.
I mean, I love that. That's great.
That is minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit for the rest of the audience.
Yeah, that's still cold. Minus 4, you make that sound real like minus 4, but like that's cold up here. That's like minus 20
but I had to look it up. I didn't know. Maybe it's 40 degrees.
Yeah, can we talk about that, America? How about you get on the right metric system? All right, you jerks. Like everyone else is on it. What's wrong with you? Why do you got to make it more difficult?
We do everything more difficult.
The rest of the world has to kowtow to you. Like, oh my gosh, let me make that miles for you. Let me make that Fahrenheit. Just get on board.
Yeah.
Like, God, what is wrong with you?
Deal with that shit yesterday.
God, did you do daylight savings this weekend?
We did. Did you?
Yeah, I heard the U.S. was thinking about changing it, though. I was like, of course you would. Of course you would.
I think it's by state. Some states don't do it.
No, well, they passed it. They passed it in one wing of Congress, and it never went to the other. And until it goes to the other, it can't go into law. But a bunch of states have passed laws saying if we do a federal change, then we're going to adopt it. So it does kind of go state by state, but most of the states are on board with it.
Sounds like just John never did it. Balls deep into this,
Yeah, John's the one who's writing up the legislation. He's like, I actually pick it in my area. I have 1,000 signatures. I submitted it at change.org.ie or whatever it is.
Anybody.
And it just says on there like fuck time zones, right? Or fuck time changes, right? That's all it says, right?
It's ridiculous. My only argument was if we were going to stick to one, I'd rather it be standard time because I like the dark. I don't want it to be like daylight till 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Who the fucking likes the dark?
Because it's not, I would put my kids to sleep at 9 o'clock at night and it's daylight out and they feel like you're forcing them to bed. It's not even night. I couldn't stand that.
I've had those conversations with when my kids were young. They're like, well, if the sun's up, I'm up. I'm like, that's not a thing.
Right.
Yeah, that is not a thing. And if that's the case, like where the summer is going to suck for all of us. So no, you're going to bed at 8 and we're keeping it at 8.
Right. Standard time.
Yeah.
Speaking of daughters, I didn't tell you a funny story because my daughter's in 3rd grade. She came home and I got my my NF magazine the other day, John. I know you took a nice picture of it the other day.
Ooh.
And the poster, if you guys got it, is N64 poster, right? So I pull it out and she says, "Oh, Nintendo 64," and she she says it like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." And I'm like, she's probably, I'm a gamer guy, knows I talk, but I was like, why'd you say that? She goes, well, in school we do like these multiplication. We're learning like stories to remember the answers. I was like, okay, so tell me about it. She goes, well, 8 and 8 went on a date to buy a Nintendo 64. I was like, that's what your teacher taught you? She's like, yeah. I was like, that's awesome.
That's
like,
awesome.
That's so cool. So I was like, what else do you know? She's like, started throwing all these other ones at me. And I was like, oh, that's clever. That's cool. That
How many stories does she have to pack into her head?
I don't know, but all that matters is the N64 is one of them.
7 and 6 played the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, and regretted it from the instant it started, right? Like that kind of stuff.
How many stories
I
can there
think
be?
you need to give that teacher send an email kudos. Like, I don't know what the rest of your curriculum is, but you've got one of these answers right.
Yeah. Right? Well, she already got on my good side because right now they're reading Peter Pan, and I mean Peter Pan
fantastic.
video. I'm locked in.
Yeah, you're in. You're in. Like, fill in.
Aren't they redoing Peter Pan?
I saw.
Aren't they doing like a live action or something?
Disney
Wendy
Plus
and Peter
soon, right?
Okay.
TV show.
Oh, that's right.
TV
yeah,
show.
it's like
yeah.
Oh, it's a TV show?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right, Google it. It's on. I saw a trailer for it recently. It was on Disney
watched
Plus.
the trailer.
Yeah, but I was like, TV show or movie? Maybe is a good question.
I think
Usually it's a show if it's on Disney Plus.
You know what? Hey, speaking of like Peter Pan, can we talk about how awesome the movie Hook was from the 90s?
Classic.
I still haven't seen it.
Robin Williams. You haven't? Sorry, have you not seen that, John?
I have not seen
Shut
it.
up.
Look, I'm
Shut
gonna
up.
get to it. No spoilers.
When? It's been
out spoilers.
For 30
It's fucking Peter Pan.
years. Oh my!
Guys, I'm really busy.
You're the one that watches a movie a day while working.
I'm trying to remember the multiplication tables with stories.
Oh, but no, I mean like Robin Williams, so fantastic as Peter, right? And then Dustin Hoffman as Hook, and his portrayal of Hook is just so on the money, and it is creepy, and it is amazing. John, you need to it's got to be on some streaming service, right? You've got to make some time, carve some time, and go watch Hook.
Yeah,
it is.
I'll watch it this week.
Peter Pan and Wendy is a movie coming to Disney Plus on April 28th.
Oh, that's soon.
1 hour, 43 minutes.
Yeah.
Coming of age. Family, fantasy, and action adventure.
So much good content out right now. Right? I mean, full transparency, as we're recording this on a Sunday, the last episode of The Last of Us coming out tonight. Wait. Yeah, all of that was filmed in southern Alberta, where I live.
But it takes place in Johnstown. Imagine
I
that.
know, right? Like, how weird is that?
So that college is not a real college, but it is a mix of a couple of Colorado colleges, but the biggest inspiration is Colorado State, which is my alma mater. And it's just great because when I initially saw it when I played the game, I was like, wow, that looks like my school. And then I found out it really was inspired by the buildings.
But wasn't also the mall episode, wasn't that in Boston?
The mall?
The mall, yeah, but it was filmed in Calgary.
But what doesn't it take place in Boston? Mass?
Yeah, it takes place in Boston.
Yeah,
which is from where you are.
That's where I'm from.
This is a Triforce of Last of Us connection.
He's in Rhode Island. I don't know if he can take credit for Boston.
I can be there in less than an hour. That's considered
I like that
where
energy.
you live.
All right.
Yeah. Next time I'm in Boston, I should actually call you up, Drew, so we can for some beers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's within an hour.
Yeah,
There's a place in Providence I'll take you to. It's an old school arcade with beers and on tap. It's fantastic.
I love barcades.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic one in Kansas City called Up, Up, Down, Down. Man, it is absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Nice
and loud. Louder the better. Surrounded by the sounds of an arcade.
All
John,
microbrewery.
What have you been up to?
Speaking of television, I had an out of body television experience these past 2 weeks.
Don't say it.
Severance. Now,
have you show about nothing?
You watched this one, right?
I did.
Okay. Justin, have you ever seen Severance?
I have not. It is in my watch queue on Apple TV, but I have not yet watched it. But I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Add to queue. And I just haven't made time.
So I told this story, but I watched the first episode months ago with my wife, and we both kind of fell asleep. And we were like, we just kind of like secretly just like, we just didn't continue it. And then I had a work meeting and they said Severance is like the best show on TV. And I was like, what? Give me a break. So I decided, let me watch it. This way I can tell my coworkers I listen to them and support them. I was loving this show. I was like, wow, this is actually a really good show. But I have never seen anything like the finale of Severance. By the time it got to the last episode of Severance, I was pins and needles, whatever term you want to, edge of my seat.
Boner?
I would have thrown my family off a cliff to see the final episode. Like if you told me you have to throw your family off a cliff to watch, I would be like, yes, I have to know what happens to this final episode. It was incredible. And I was just like, it was like after sex, I was like, oh, I was so drained.
Just compared that episode to that.
I'll say to anybody listening, if you have not seen Severance, and especially if you were like a professional, like you work in an office or whatever, unbelievable. I mean, I cannot believe something this good is on Apple TV.
So I just want to be clear. So what you're saying to listeners is, if your wife is about to have sex with you, say, no, honey, we need to watch Severance.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
easy.
Okay.
I would take the finale. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've got greenlit for season 2 too. Have they not?
I think, yeah, they're already, I think they're filming season 2.
Or else it's like your wife is teasing you for sets at the end.
I mean, the cliffhanger to season 2
there's some
is
tease.
insane.
There is so much great content on TV, right? So
it's unreal.
We've talked about The Last of Us right now. Mandalorian is back for season 3.
I haven't loved season 3.
I haven't loved either, but it's back and I like the idea of it. Andor was fantastic. Picard, if you're a Trekkie, Picard season 3 is paying out dividends. This week, Ted Lasso comes back.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I just finished off Yellow Jackets first season, and Yellow Jackets season 2 comes out the end of this month.
Does it?
Yeah.
Hook.
Succession comes back, and also Hook. Hook from 1993 is fantastic. We're eating, people. We're eating, right? You know what I'm saying? It's fantastic.
Is there a season 2 of Hook? Or is there they just did the one?
Just a movie. Just a movie, buddy. But I'd love that. Would have been amazing, though.
The scene when they're playing baseball. Oh,
In Hook?
John,
are we still talking Hook?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a scene they're playing baseball. It's awesome.
I am watching Barry. Did you guys ever see Barry?
Yes. Yeah.
No, with Bill Hader.
Season 1 or 2, a couple seasons of that.
Oh, did I see that?
I just finished season 1 last night. We'll probably continue it this week. I love SNL. I'm like Bill Hader. I'll watch him till the end of time.
I do like Bill Hader.
It's a really dark comedy. Like super dark.
Maybe
I love some of the characters in that.
Yep.
Right? Like just some really well acted characters too.
Yep.
Right?
It's heavy though.
Speaking of SNL, I told you I just bought tickets to go see Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
Nice.
Very jealous.
Stand-up.
That's fantastic. Are they
Very
like
jealous.
is it like a duo stand up or are they like
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Should be good.
Those two are like one being. They're
pod.
it's they are one being. Did you see I haven't seen it yet, but the girl from Wednesday was on SNL last night.
Oh, Jenna
Tortilla.
Tortilla?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Tortilla.
Tortilla. Oh my god. That escalates so quickly.
Oh boy. Ooh. Anyway, moving on. Drew, we have to talk. I don't know, Justin, if you want to be involved in this. Drew, Wargroove 2 trailer came out this week.
Talk about boners. Woo!
True. I got notifications on my phone, Justin. John, wake up! Wargroove 2. That's how I found out.
That's it was so funny because I remember playing Wargroove the original at in EGX when I was living abroad, and I was like, this is such a cool game, and I got to meet the developers, and then Wargroove came out and I played a little bit of it, and then I got distracted by something else shiny and never really went back to it. And then Wargroove 2 got announced. I was like, I really need to go back to Wargroove because I did not play enough of it. No, I only played 4 levels. That was how far into it I got. So I literally went back to it this week and started playing it, and I was like, this is such a good game. Fun.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to replay it too. The levels do take a while. That was my biggest complaint at the time. You got to set aside about an hour to get through a level at times.
You can't save, but it's tough because you kind of forget what your strategy was. Like you're setting people up and it's hard to.
Yeah.
I do want to mention Go ahead.
How do you feel? Like, I think it's interesting they're announcing that, and like we're literally a month away from Advanced Wars.
I know. I thought that.
Now, I don't think Wargroove is coming out tomorrow, so they've got plenty of space. But in a Wargroove, the statement was, "Wow, this is great because Advanced Wars doesn't exist." Right.
Mhm.
And so
Agreed.
it filled that gap. Now we've got Advanced Wars that has filled that gap or will be filling that gap, presumably.
Yeah. Let's not jinx it. It might not happen.
Fingers crossed. So like, I'm curious how this is going to land in regards to, and the challenge is, I mean, when you go into game development is 3 to 4 year cycle. So when they started Wargroove 2, they didn't know Advanced Wars 1 and 2 was coming out. But I wonder how much is that is now playing into their space in regards to development cycle when they're releasing, or maybe also could they steal things from Advanced Wars 2 and make sure like, oh, we did this better, or we're taking that idea and lifting it, depending on how far into the development they are.
I think it'll be summer or fall probably.
I think there's a chance it is better, to be honest, with just the modes and features they described. Like
than Advanced Wars, or better than Wargroove?
I think Wargroove 2 will be better than Advanced Wars.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know.
Wargroove 2 is a new game. Advanced Wars is not, although I'm sure they've got some twists in there. And I don't remember the first 2 levels. I'll never remember the levels. But I like the pirate theme that they're going with. So it's going to be kind of cool to see. But it's so great.
Since we're on this topic, I want to bring up a mobile game. If you guys need a nice shitter game called The Lost Frontier, which is exactly Wargroove on your phone, but it's in the style of like a Western cowboys.
Oh my God.
It's that. I mean, there's no other way I need to explain it. It's exactly Wargroove-ish. There's no heroes. I guess you could. I think you do select one hero. It's a simpler version of Wargroove, but it's a nice little mobile game. It gets the job done if you're itching for something for that. So I've been playing it. I'm about I played like 10 levels so far. It's fun.
That's great. That's very cool. $4 on the Apple.
Yes, it is. It is not a freebie.
How is that not an Apple Arcade?
But there's no ads or any shit or garbage, and you pay the $4, you get the game, and that's it. So I don't mind paying it when it's like that.
Did you say so? That is Apple Arcade? Because like sometimes you'll get it's not.
No, it's not.
I was saying it's why isn't it on Apple Arcade?
Okay,
Agreed.
Yeah. I'll wait for Advanced Wars. I'm going to take Wargroove 2. I think it'll be Satian. Fire Emblem Engage. I played through twice. I'm good, man. 2023 is good, very good to me.
It is.
Another interesting mobile game, if we're in that space, you should look at is it's actually right now it's in the App Store right now is the game of the day. It is Torchlight Infinite, the true loot based ARPG. And I was actually Torchlight. I was actually in the beta on this game initially, and it actually is quite fun. It is it's got some very Diablo-esque elements to it.
So they have Torchlight on the Switch, Justin. Torchlight 2 and 3. I've played them. I didn't know if this is similar to the mobile version.
Didn't 2 come out before Diablo was on Switch, or maybe it came out after? I can't remember.
Torchlight is a known series. I didn't know they had a mobile game though.
Yeah, I played the beta. The beta was a little bit rough, but it looks like they've polished this out a fair bit. So
I'll have to check it out.
I remember Switch had a whole bunch of Diablo likes before Diablo 3 finally came in, and then I didn't think about it. Like Nine Parchments was one. But I think Torchlight has. Yeah, never got into that.
What's good?
I think you found your shitter game again, but you got to finish The Lost Frontier.
Got to finish The Lost Frontier. All right. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, folks. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Trim Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpets by going to manscaped.com and using the code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. Now, Justin.
Yeah,
we've been talking about this for quite some time. I mean, if people have not gone out and done this by now, I mean, it's like a slap on the wrist, right? Shame on you.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
slapping the dick.
Slapping the dick. Literally. I mean, it's just there's not much else to say. The products are fantastic. John, did you ever get a chance to grow your beard out a little bit to use?
I'm going to say this right now. This is not a video podcast, but you see this right here in this face?
Is that the?
This is 3 hours old. I used the beard trimmer earlier, and I've talked about it. I love the beard trimmer. It is so much better than what I was using before.
Mm-hmm.
Today in the mail, I got a nose and hair trimmer, the 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. And then I can show you the other fresh shave that I have here.
Oh, please.
Oh, Jay.
No. Yeah, you're right. That's not appropriate. Yeah, like I can't talk more about the beard trimmer. It's so comfortable. It's so fast. It feels like professional clippers when you're
Mhm.
buzzing, whereas my old one felt like you had to go slow and
Yeah.
this one just like wow wow wow. I love it.
Johnny,
Love
if they were to come out with their next product of an asshole trimmer, what should they call it?
The Drew.
That's
The
awesome.
Drew clip.
The Drew.
Do you use one? I don't
I'm just saying, if there was
think
one
I've ever tried.
design to get between the cracks, maybe it would work better.
Is there a demand? I would love to know.
Maybe.
I'd love to know. Do you bleach? Are you a
I do not.
bleacher?
I do
Is
not.
that just
I
a
do not
girl thing?
bleach.
All
I
right.
presume it's just like waxing, right? Like just
Well, there's
ripping.
wax in your asshole. There's bleaching, which I would think would be more
I don't know if you have some
comfortable.
experience on this.
No, but I've heard of it because I remember hearing bleaching. Why would you do that? And I think I went down a Google rabbit hole and I regretted it.
You went down
but-
a rabbit hole. All right.
Yeah. I
The
mean, like,
regret.
yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't imagine shaving and then having it grow back in. I don't know what that would feel like.
Well, folks, go buy some Manscaped products. That's all we can say.
Legitimately, they are fantastic products. I love my Manscaped products. Between the body wash, between the deodorant,
Yep.
right, the ball
wipe.
deodorant as well. Like it's the trimmer, like you mentioned before. Like they just make amazingly quality products, which I absolutely love. I said before, like the joke is if they made toothpaste and hair gel, I think my entire day would be covered by Manscaped.
Good point. I mean, my personal favorite,
You know it's coming.
I said all the time, is the toe. I mean, not the toe, the foot
The foot duster.
deodorant.
Yeah.
It's just
What
who
do they
knew
call
you
that?
needed it? Who knew?
Yeah. You know what? Like as a kid, or when I was a teenager, like I had just bad, stinky feet. Right. And nowadays, or even in the summer, like sometimes when it gets a little hot and sweaty, and you're in your sandals as much, the feet get a little bit weird, a little bit freaky. Right. So give that a good dust and you're
Right
off
before
the
bed.
races.
Yeah, you have some sweaty feet. It's great.
Yeah. Like it's just fantastic products. We love them. Absolutely love Manscaped.
Agreed.
Well, now, time to cause some mayhem.
Monthly mayhem. Let's talk about how people can win money. First of all, February review contest was great. We love all the reviews we got. We want to say over here, we mentioned Informant's review that said John. It turns out after the show, he
typo.
wrote us
Supposed to be
and said
Drew.
it was a mistake. Yeah, it didn't intend. No, he did not want to say Drew, but something got messed up. So he actually updated his review. I think he updated. I'm not sure if he did.
He did. Sorry.
So yeah, it wasn't a review that was John. Disappointing. I felt like it was 100% a great review with just the word John. But there, he was like really embarrassed by it, Drew. Right? He was just like, I can't believe it. Oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thank you for that. One of our winners has not claimed their prize. The winner is it goes by Apple username Cool Mom. We
Cool
announced it on the special. We haven't heard from Cool Mom. Cool Mom, if you are out there, you can tweet us and Dads After Dark on Twitter. You can email us, dadsafterdarkshow@gmail.com. Just send us proof that it's you. Show us your review app and your name and whatever. And we will get you your $20 eShop card. But we're trying to track down Cool Mom. If anybody knows Cool Mom.
Cool Mom.
I know it's not Drew's mom. Drew's mom is Hot Mom. But Cool Mom,
right.
we're still looking for you.
Do you have your kids ever jump on to like Sid the Science Kid or something like that? It's a TV show. There's an episode and it's this song they always sing and it's stuck in my head. It's something like, I love my mom. My mom is cool. It's so stupid, but it's one of those things. It's Cool Mom.
I love a good science show. What was it? Where's that show?
It's oh my God, it looks like 1980 like Pixar animation. It's Sid the Science Kid.
Okay. It's an old show.
I don't know if it's old. It's just not well animated.
Is it older than Hook or newer than Hook?
That is the line that he has to cross, right?
That's what I got to know.
I don't know if you just look it up. Sid the Science Kid. All right, anyways.
We have merch. go to bit.ly/dads-merch-shop. You can find all our latest merch. I don't think we've updated in a little while, but maybe we will someday.
Ooh.
And there's a new
Monthly Mayhem! Well, Monthly Mayhem is back. It begins when you're listening to this, March 13th, and it's going to run through April 9th. And folks, we figured out how to do it. We are doing Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. It's going to be fun. If you played some of our ones in the past, we kind of did a similar, I guess, crossover. If you ever did the Mario Kart ones and you ever did the Mario Party ones, think of that. This is going to be a mini game heavy Monthly Mayhem. There's going to be 4 mini games. The first two, the first one, we're going to go to the Merry Magdoland, and it's going to be the Ninja Dojo, right? So if you remember that one, that's the one you throw the throwing stars at the bullseyes. You have to play it on Master difficulty. The second mini game is going to be, you go to the Star Cutter, the spaceship, and you have to go to those challenges that are for the abilities. That's going to be the Bomb Challenge. You do have to unlock some of the little cods to get it, but the Bomb Challenge. The Bomb Challenge one is just one of those ones you go as fast as you can through the level, and you get a score based on your speed and how many items you get throughout that. And they're fairly short. I think they take less than 5 minutes to do. So you could do a few runs. The third one is going to be the Sword Challenge, just like the Bomb one. It's the same concept, but you have to use the sword ability. And the last one is going to be a little unique. It's going to be back to the Merry Magdoland, and it's going to be missions. So when you're in that little merry-go amusement park area and you hit the Y button or X button, one of the two, it pulls up the missions. These are kind of like little achievements that are all built into mini games just in the Merry Magdoland. And there's up to 100. So you're going to get 1 point for every mission that you do. That's kind of separate than the other 3. The other 3, if I go backwards now, is going to be similar to like the Mario Kart. Think about Mario Kart when you play, you get like 15 points for first, 12 points for second, and so on. That's what we're going to do for these 3 mini games. So you're going to be compared to all the other competitors, right? How many points did you get? So you might finish first in one, you might finish in 5th in the other one. We'll put all those points together, plus the points for the missions. And that's going to be the winner. We are going back to the old school mentality, John, in this one, where you're going to get a lottery ball for every point you get. So if you're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th place, the higher you place, the better chance of winning the random lottery drawing.
More balls, the better.
More balls. You get more balls in your hands. That's what we like to do. So hopefully that made sense. Again, March 13th, pretty much today, run through April 9th. Those are the 4 mini games. We have a beautiful graphic. I'm going to be posting it in the Discord like I always do. John will create 4 channels for the 4 different mini games to be posting. And guys, like we said, let's post these scores early. Let's get the competition going. Remember, I talked about being the fluffer? I'm going to fluff my way back into this one. I'm going to be giving some good scores up front.
Drew, I think it's your time to win.
My time.
I think you need to go for this one.
I don't know, man. The missions. I thought I played a lot of this game, and I only have like 41 out of 100.
Whoa!
So I got a lot to go.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yep, and I'm going to talk about this game when we talk about what we've been playing a little bit more. But Kirby's Return to Dreamland. It's going to be fun. Let's post some stuff. Let's get the competition flowing. There's money to be won.
It's time to talk about what we've been playing.
Justin,
Yeah.
you are our guest. You're kind of our guest, but you're kind of our daddy. But either way,
weird.
Daddy gets the biggest piece of chicken. Daddy gets to talk about
piece of chicken.
what he's been playing first.
Can you
my
please
God.
stop saying
There's so much about the conversation I want to talk about. Well, I know Drew, you and I, we can talk about a couple games that we've been overlapping in.
Sure.
But I'll start off with maybe what the overlap isn't. I've been playing some more Metroid Prime Remastered. Man, that's such a fantastic game.
Nice.
Ooh.
Man, I'm loving that game. Not as far into it as I want to be, about 2.5 to 3 hours. I just got my space boots, double jump boots kind of thing.
See, I never played it yet.
No.
On my list, though.
Oh man, this is so good. This feels like the year of Metroid. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're late, but I feel like this is the year of Metroid. And I'm really hoping for some Metroid Prime 4. So I'm playing that. Loving it. And if you haven't played it, you should play it. It's fantastic.
Do you think, Justin, do you think we're going to get like 2 and 3 over the year? Because I kind of feel like we'll get 2 and 3 months, 3 in 6 months, and then 4 will come out with the Switch 2.
Too much.
No? Too long?
I love that idea, but I think the cycle time is too long.
It's too much Metroid.
Right? That means that they would have. That means in theory, at some point during their development cycle, they would have had 5 Metroid games in development at the same time.
Yeah, but these are kind of remasters, and I think it matters when Metroid Prime 4. I don't know when Metroid Prime 4 is coming, so they want to keep you going.
Here's like the unlogical part, John. Yes, and I hope so. Right? Like I really hope we get like 2 in June. Right. And then we get 3 in, I don't know, September, and then 4 comes out this year. Right. That's my hope. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they would have done that in regards to this development cycle or if they would have put the same love and care in it. I truly believe we're getting 4 this year. And I think we're going to see some more Metroid love this year. So I kind of say I think it's a year of Metroid. So I'm hoping, though, fingers crossed, and I would love it if they did 2 and 3. Man, would I love that. And they're also seeing incredible sales numbers to reflect that also, by the way. Like there's massive sales numbers. And as a matter of fact, like the UK, it was like the second biggest game of February or whatever it was. So that's pretty huge. You can't find physical copies of it, really. So they were underestimating that. I think Metroid is traditionally not sold well in overall, but I think it's now cracked that nut. And I think that they are really moving forward. And so I think Nintendo needs to capitalize that, but I really think we are going to get 4 this year as well.
Sweet.
Another game I've been playing is I played the demo for Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon.
Wow.
And that game is cool.
Art style, it looks cool.
That art style is amazing. The VO is pretty tremendous. Have you either of you played it?
No.
I'll play the game down the road. I haven't played the demo.
I really enjoyed it, like enough that I turned that I was like, I'm gonna pick this game up.
Wow.
Very, very. It's one of the things I find very interesting about it is, and there's no shock because you've seen it in the trailers. You have Cereza and this other like beast, this other animal. Cheshire, right? You control Cheshire with like the right thumbstick and just the shoulder buttons, and you control Cereza with the left stick and the top buttons.
Oh, that's
so at times when you're both in the screen, like you're kind of having to move your thumbs different way, like it kind of feels a little bit weird at times. And the other challenge I had was at one point Cheshire went to the left and Cereza went to the right, and so like my brain like left right. I was like, I don't really know what I'm trying to do here. It's a lot of like co-op stuff, right? So you need to solve this problem. But Cheshire can't go this way. So you need to use Cereza to try and solve that problem, to make a path so that Cheshire can come. And then when Chester's there, by the way, you can't go unless he does something. So it's kind of this really unique back and forth when both characters are on the screen. The VO is really incredible. The art style is very cool, very water paint. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. And again, I'm not a Bayonetta fan, but I was like, sure, I'll try this demo. Why not? A little content for the channel. By the end of it, I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. So yeah, check out the demo. John, I know that you've had a real journey with Bayonetta over the last several years. I'd love to eventually just hear like what your thoughts are on this and what your experiences as well.
Yeah, I've boycotted Platinum now, so I'll buy it used off eBay at some point, so I won't be able to play it at launch. But I was going to say, is this the kind of game where if you had 2 Joy-Cons, you could play co-op with somebody and have them control, or is it just you have to be so quick you couldn't possibly? No,
you could like, and I don't know. So there may be a 2 Joy-Con option we could split, possibly. I'm not, but yeah, I've never felt like I've had to be too quick.
Okay.
Like a lot of the stages, like you need to walk a little bit with this character, a little bit with this character. So it's never felt like it was that fast reliance. So you probably could just like throw a Joy-Con to somebody else and just split it out.
Okay. Because that fascinates me. Like I know the IGN people did like Breath of the Wild where they each had one Joy-Con, and that is not a game designed, but it's fun to watch. And I don't know if there's channels, but people should do more channels where they split Joy-Cons and play the stupidest games. But that one just seemed like, the way you're describing it reminded me of like Brothers, where you just control 2 things at once more than just one control scheme. So that might be interesting.
Yeah, it was very cool. If you get a chance to check it out. The other game I'm playing is Kirby, right? You just mentioned Kirby a couple moments ago. Got a code from Nintendo, so we gave that a shot. We only put about an hour and a bit into that. Got to that kind of area you were talking about before of like trying out the mini games, the challenges. I think it's such a great kids game. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I said to my kiddos, I was like, listen, I've downloaded this. You guys will love this. There's tons of mini games. There's 4-player. I have a bunch of fun. Kirby is such a approachable character, but I don't like. It's also one of those games that like I can very easily be second screening. Right, I'm not solely vested. Like, there's never deep Kirby lore that I feel like I need to be invested in the story, so I can kind of always second screen it. But also like, oh, this isn't super hard. But I've died a couple times for sure. Yep. Right. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad they did that. And then the other game I've been playing a lot of, Drew, Overwatch 2.
Nice.
Absolutely love it.
Jump in and play. Who's your go-to character? Now that I understand,
I've got go-tos on each area, right? So if I'm going into the healing, I use Baptiste and Zenyatta are my.
Which ones are they? Because I'm not.
Yeah.
Like,
so
super
Zenyatta is the metal monk.
Okay.
Who's got those balls that float around.
I did that one.
And Baptiste is he is the medic. And so he's actually he's the medic, but he's also very much a DPS as well. Like, you can do a lot of damage with him.
Which one was the healer that had like the radio to change the channel or something?
I know. Lucio.
I was into that one.
Yeah, I don't like that one. They're way too fast. I am so bad at that one.
Well, it was a cool concept that like one radio station gives everyone a speed boost and the other radio station gives it a heal boost.
Yes.
I thought that was unique.
Yeah, it's a very cool. There's so many great characters in there, right? And then if I'm a tank, I like to use Bastion is my tank. Baptiste is my healer. I apologize. That's the robot. Yeah, and he's literally turns into a tank and just wrecks shop. That's
kills
pretty cool.
Everybody.
Troburn, he's the dwarf. And he's got a turret that pops out. He's pretty cool, but he's also like designed to being shorter because he's a dwarf than everybody else. So your eye line is kind of shorter, which is funny. And then Sojourn is another one I use a lot of, and she's newly added to Overwatch. She's in the Overwatch 2 pool, and she's Canadian, so I'm already just like loving her. Right? You got to love that. And then for my tank, and then if I'm going on tank, I like Reinhardt. Right? She's got the big shield, right? Yep, big knight. It's got the big hammer. Nothing wrong with that. Nice. But then my other one I use there is Orisa. She is the metal robot. Kind of looks like 4 legs, spins a weird horn thing. Yeah, she's really cool. I do really well with her. But man, I love Overwatch. I love so. What's your experience been like? Because you did play Paladins before. How has the transition to Overwatch been?
It felt very familiar, right? It felt very welcoming, I guess you could say. I mean, anytime you jump into these new games, they can be very overwhelming. Like I didn't dive too much into like the battle pass type thing. I just said, let me just get my feet wet. I think it did a really good job. The tutorial, right, kind of throws in just the standard character, does a little tutorial, shows you all the buttons, all the moves, and then I held my own. I was in the middle of the pack for the few games I played. I wasn't at the bottom. I certainly wasn't at the top, but I felt that I was contributing and stuff. I thought the map design was fun. I thought the different scenarios were fun, and like you said, the characters are all unique enough. So no, I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't delete it; still there. I'll jump back in.
It's a good start. It's a good it's approval stamp. I didn't delete it, right? I'm done.
I mean, it's a big game too, right? So I'm gonna get this off my hardware. But no, I'll definitely jump back in. Like I did with Paladins. I always just used to jump back in when you're in that gaming rut, and I was in a big gaming rut, so it's a perfect game to just jump in and out, play a few matches, and jump out. Agreed.
Yeah, exactly. I like it.
It's gonna catch you.
Gents, those are the games I've been playing.
Nice,
awesome. I can go.
Sure,
guys. I finished A Little to the Left.
Oh,
I'm so excited. 100 dailies. Took me 100 days. I didn't miss a day. I actually, for the first time this morning, I time traveled, because you can time travel to do the dailies. And I considered doing it when the dailies were 360 that you had to do. But then like a few weeks ago, they cut it down to 100. But man, I was at 99 this morning. And I was like, I'm doing a show today. I want to talk about if there's something cool that happens. I want to be able to talk about it right now. So I time traveled. I did the last one. Nothing happened. I got the last badge.
As expected.
And that's it. So I'm done. But I have been waking up and playing A Little to the Left every day for 3 months. And that is now done. So very excited.
How do you feel about that? Like, did you like your statement of like, I have to 100 dailies? That gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like I'm going to miss. I feel like it's going to like
you don't have to do them in a row, but
that just provides me a lot of
It was a nice touch, I think, by the game. Because you finish all the content, you're done, and you're like, okay, I'm done. But you can keep playing every day. The downside was there's only about 8 or so different puzzles that they rotated through, and every day had like different assets. Different, like the snowflake levels, and they were different. I don't know how they did it, or they randomized it or whatever. So they were different, but my God, it was the same thing. The spider web, some of them were easy. After a while,
don't let him fool you. This is the same guy that hasn't missed a card of Switch Sports since it released.
Oh yeah, but that was more fun. But still, like some days it was like I didn't want to do any hard ones. I just wanted the easy puzzles, get it done, like knock the number down one. So
does Nintendo email you directly? Like, hey, John, the server's coming down for a refresh on Nintendo Wii Sports. or okay? Just giving you an FYI, John. We're going to be down for about 5 hours. I apologize.
I did
one person still playing that game?
I know, because there's other people that I play Chambara against every Thursday morning, and I see some of the same names, including this one girl. If you were out there, Cereza or whatever,
maybe that's Cool Mom.
Like it could be. Like she comes on, she doesn't fight me. She just wants you to just pound her, knock her off the thing, and you get your points. Because the question is, do you rather just lose quickly and get 30 points, or try to win and take more time and get 40 points?
Justin, does this not sound like one of those, you have like a weekly Thursday meeting like that you dread? That's what John does. Like that's in my brain. Like I'm going to work. Oh, fucking Thursday, I got my staff meeting.
I feel like I'm more questioning the woman the person on the other side. Like maybe is that part of like some punishment that they have to go through? Like every single I need you to stand there and just get beaten by this person every single day.
John's wife. She's just trying to make John win faster.
Oh, wow. I wish I had 2 copies of the game.
Some electric S&M kind of thing going on. Like just stand there and get beaten Shambara by some guy.
It's so pointless, and I was so excited because they did 3x points this week, and it took me like 40 minutes to do my weekly, and I was done. And next week, there'll be 1x. It'll take me 2 hours, and I'm gonna hate it. But
so do you feel? And so like here's a theme I'm hearing from you, John. These ideas of like weeklies and cards. Like, do you feel like sort of enslaved sort of to these things sometimes?
You do.
Like, do you?
You do. I mean,
yeah.
I was doing the dailies with Little to the Left, and then the weekly for Switch Sports was Thursday, which is also the weekly for Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh my gosh. You've been telling me you're doing the weekly on that too?
Yeah, and I really wish that would end because those are getting boring too. But me and my friend do it like every couple weeks, and you just do 2. They're not even that hard. And it's like, it just goes on, but it doesn't take much. Switch Sports is I want to unlock all the items, and my theory is there's a new sheet every week. This was sheet 47, I believe. I think there's going to be 52 sheets, 1 year of content, and then they're going to be done with it. The other thing that suggests that is they did an update last week, 2 weeks ago, that basically said you will now be able to get older items that you missed. I think that's in preparation for after week 52, you're going to start getting sheets with your old items. So I think they're planning their end game. Right. And that will be fantastic because I have nothing I've ever missed. And I want to do a nice little YouTube video and just show all of the costumes and everything that I've earned. I think that's
great. That's cool.
Yeah.
But like that just gives me like so much anxiety of like I have to finish this thing by this time. I'm already on that cycle that like hamster wheel a bit with like Fortnite and Overwatch in regards to my own battle pass stuff. But like I don't know, to have to dial in and do those sheets and not really know what the reward is at the end, right? And there's got to be like if you missed a sheet. Like, let's just say, like, you missed a week, something didn't work.
I'd be done.
Like, would you just stop? Be like, I'm done.
I'd be done.
Over.
Yeah, I actually quit like 6 weeks ago. Okay. And then the next week, for some reason, I jumped back into it and I had to do 2 sheets. It's the dumbest thing. Little to the Left takes me like 1 minute every morning. Monster Hunter Rise is still fun and doesn't take long. This one is like, I actually do feel like, oh, why am I doing this? And I do it while I work. I'll sit there on meetings just chambaring I don't care if I win or lose. Yeah,
Who hasn't
we all
done
do
that,
it.
you know?
And I played
I've sat
Chambara.
for meetings and had like Fortnite running in the background, right? Like I listen. I don't need to listen to call.
Oh, I saw Tim playing Fire Emblem while I was doing the show this past Thursday. I get it.
Oh yeah, that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon at all.
Moving on from the pain and torture of Switch sports. I played through Live Alive. I did not play this when it launched. And I was going to play Octopath Traveler 2, and I just decided I don't feel like getting into that right now. And I was like, but I got Live Alive in the shelf, and I heard it's a quicker game. So I went through it. Gotta say this. I'm mixed with this game. Live Alive is it's separate stories. It's kind of like Octopath, but the stories are completely separate. There's 7 stories you go through, and they're different times, right? We've seen the Wild West, the distant future. We've seen all that. And there's 7 stories, completely different characters. You play through them all. Then after that, there are 2 more chapters that you play. Great. Fine. The first chapter I played was Wild West, and I really enjoyed it. It looks like a JRPG style thing. It's the HD 2D like Octopath. And they were asking you to do some different things. And I was like, wow, this is kind of unique. I really like this. Then I had a really hard boss battle because I didn't know how to set up the traps in the Wild West. But I enjoyed the Wild West. It turns out Wild West ended up being my favorite chapter because the rest were mixed. The distant future one, the one with the egg, has to be the worst play session of my life. It is miserable. I don't know, Justin, if you played it, or Drew, you haven't played this game, but
you told me not to.
I played like 5 of the 7 stories.
Okay.
Wow.
And then
did you do the egg? Did you do the?
Didn't do the egg. No.
It is. I had heard that there is a chapter because you guys had been talking about it on the show when it came out. There's a chapter where you're getting lost in the dark, and so I was trying to avoid that. In fact, I asked Hambone, "What's the best chapter I can start with?" Because I didn't want to start with a bad chapter and then stop.
Yep.
I didn't run into a problem where I got trapped or stuck or whatever, but the distant future was just going back and forth and back and forth. It was the most bland thing I've ever done.
That's
in my
when
life.
you're on the spaceship, right?
You're on a spaceship and there's like a murder. It's so bad. So yeah, like my favorites were like Wild West, the China one, and the Japan one. Those were my favorites. The present day is like a Street Fighter thing, and you have to like fight guys, and then when they hit you with a move, you learn their move. The chapter's like 15 minutes long and it's done, and it's like, okay. But yeah, prehistoric, near future, distant future, I didn't like as much.
I thought the prehistoric was kind of fun. I did enjoy that one. I thought there was some good moments in that. But yeah, there was definitely some frustration that I had as well.
Yeah, prehistoric wasn't bad.
Is combat just a straight up turn-based combat?
It's on a grid, and it takes a while to really get a feel for it. But you have a set of moves that some hit left, right, up, down, some hit diagonal, some hit 2 squares away. It's hard to keep it all in your head because by the time you kind of get a feel for it, you're playing a new chapter. So it's a grid. And yeah, you just want to kind of position yourself in a way that you get people locked into those tiles that have your biggest attacks. But like I said, every chapter is totally different, and it takes a while to get a feel for what you're trying to do.
And then it's over,
Yeah. Then when you go in the final 2 chapters, you kind of pick the character you want to use for those chapters. And you kind of, I just picked the guy that felt the most OP to me, and that was the Japanese character. But you can pick any of them. And then you can recruit some other ones too. I just didn't love the game. It got really bad when I did the prehistoric, and it probably influenced my thinking on it because I got into a battle in the prehistoric and I was just getting the shit kicked out of me. And I just said, I got to look up a guide because I'm getting just smoked. There's some mechanic I don't know. And they said, yeah, you should probably be level 8 before you do this fight. I was level 3. And there is no way to get out of that fight. Once you go into the cave where the fight is, you can't go out. So I had to replay the chapter. Now, the chapters are like 1 to 2 hours long in general, but it sucked. I had to replay, and then I had to do this huge amount of grinding, which none of the other chapters ask you to do. You can just kind of go through. You don't have to grind. In this one, you have to grind like 45 minutes to beat this boss. It was just silly. And then in the last chapter, I was just ready to be done with the game, but I just had to grind for an hour to get powerful enough to fight this final boss. So it has its moments. It's a beautiful looking game, and all the different stories. If you're into those kinds of stories, there's all these different stories. And overall, as I think about the game, it has some really bright spots. It just felt like there was some really, near future, distant future, just didn't like, and some of the grinding. It's a 7. Like it's like a 7 game. I'm not saying this is a bad game. I don't know if this is a Drew game, Drew. But
I respect that.
Yeah.
I do like the differences of the Wild West. Like, let's take this, like it's episodic in that way. I do like, so from a play session perspective, that was great.
Yeah.
Right. Like you felt like you could get somewhere. I'm playing a chapter. It's this one thing. I'm done this. Right. And to your point, John, anywhere between, 20 minutes to maybe 2 hours, depending on it. I kind of wish they would give you an indicator of that though. Right. Like before you select it, like, hey, this on estimate 90 minutes.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I know.
Nice. Right.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like, oh, this estimate 4 hours. You're like, oh, I'm not done this one.
Right.
So I like that approach. I like the different skews of time, but there are just some fundamental things that were frustrating. It's also one of those games where at that moment, like everyone was so hot on it. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's the first time in North America. Oh my gosh, it's this art style. And I think there's a lot of good things that go with it, but I don't know if it's as great as people think it is, if that makes sense.
I agree. And like I said, it is not a game I would tell people, don't play this game. Definitely not. I think there's some really good parts to this game. It is also a game I think I would really enjoy playing a second time. Just knowing what I'm getting into going into the game, I would play it differently. Like the Wild West, I screwed up because I didn't know how to do the traps. I could do that better. I could play this game a lot better going in a second time.
Yeah. I think if you can find it on sale too, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And it's a gorgeous looking game. It looks incredible.
This game also suffered because Xenoblade came out the week later.
Yeah,
right? Or I could argue Xenoblade suffered as well. Like I don't know where in Nintendo's mind did you think dropping 2 massive JRPG. Now, I'm not saying that Live Alive is a massive JRPG,
definitely,
but like massive. 2 big JRPGs in a week of each other was a good idea in July, right? Yep. Like that was not a great timing. So that always scratches my head about that one. But I don't work at Nintendo, so whatever.
Yep, I think they're both worth playing. Neither of them are my favorite RPGs, but other game I've been playing, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. Drew knows I have been playing Dead Cells for the last month. I reset my data, started a whole save file, been playing through that game again, and I have been doing that just because I wanted to be ready for Return to Castlevania. And Return to Castlevania came out. I love it. So good. I will say this.
I downloaded it. Where do you enter the Castlevania area?
Exactly. This is my problem with this DLC.
Yeah, this is always the problem with Dead Cells DLC is you can't just go. You generally have to look it up. So with this one, you have to have played at least 3 runs of Dead Cells before you can access this. So if you are starting Dead Cells for the first time,
you have to beat the game 3 times.
You have to have 3 runs.
Oh,
you can die. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have that. I've definitely done that before.
Okay. Yeah, because there's some tutorializing that the base game does, so they don't want to start the Castlevania.
That's fair.
If you're downloading it fresh for the first time, you're going to have to do 3 Dead Cells runs before you have a chance to get in. But it's actually much easier. So there's 3 parts to the DLC. The first part is in the first area, it's called the Prisoner's Quarters.
Mm-hmm.
There is a staircase that goes down and to the right. You can find it. It's not too hard to find. It's kind of near the entrance, but it's random. Find the staircase. I think it's Richter that talks to you, and he will lead you into the DLC. That's the first stage of the DLC.
But why? Like why? It's so confusing. And this is what I hate about Dead Cells. Dead Cells is an amazing game. Love it. It's just the way they design all their DLC and this, like, honestly, I played this game years ago. I loved it. If this Castlevania bit was, hey, there's like a mini little 5-minute tutorial and I can buy the game for $10, I would do it. I would 100% give that company my money. But the fact that I have to go like re-download my old save data, try to remember how to play, go find the DLC.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's weird. It's weird.
Just, I don't know. Just make deals. Dead Cells 2 at this point.
I think I think that's a problem. That's a little bit the argument, Drew, right? Like they ended up basically like having a hit game on their hands that I don't think they fully expected to be as big as it was.
True.
And so then it's like, so what do we do? Because they have a ton of DLC that's been added to this thing, right? If you go on an eShop, there are 3 or 4 different like levels and bundles of DLC it's added. I have them all, and now this one. Like, it kind of feels like you're like, remember like when schools were built and like this is the primary school, and then you're like, cool, we've expanded. Now we have this like trailer that's attached to it and this wing. And so you're like, these things don't really fit together, but I know it's all school. This is all Dead Cells, but they've kind of overexpanded themselves. And so I kind of appreciate when games, and I think like we saw this with Hollow Knight, as they began to look at their DLC plan for Hollow Knights, was like, oh, this is bigger than a DLC. This is a second game. And I think that Dead Cells, but then the argument is, then we could always be like, well, this should just be a DLC update. Yeah. Right? Like, it's such a damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
It's the same
scenario.
The same engine. Yeah, no, I got you.
And like the base game is like, so that could expedite things, right? The base game, the engine, the install's all there. Now let's monetize on DLC, right? The infrastructure is there. Hades is a great example. You know, Hades 2 is going to be coming out soon. Should that have just been a DLC?
We don't know yet. Cuphead,
we don't know, right? Like,
what
and then
Cuphead?
You look at
Cuphead should have been Cuphead 2.
Cuphead. Okay, that was a DLC.
5 years old, should have been Cuphead 2, right?
So the funny thing about Cuphead is they promised this DLC, whatever. The thing about Dead Cells is they have done 4 DLCs. 1 is free, 3 are paid. Clearly people are buying the DLC because I think if they weren't, I think they would have just made a Dead Cells 2. I didn't know anybody, right? I mean, like Drew and I would say this all the time. I don't know anybody who's still playing Dead Cells. How are they still selling the DLC?
Yeah.
But it really took Return to Castlevania, and like I saw Justin was playing it, I saw Marty was playing it. Like a lot of people are getting back into Dead Cells. And I will say this, the one thing I'll give credit for is there's all these routes through Dead Cells. And there's this one door that I can find, and I try to go in, and it says you need the DLC. So I like the way the DLC integrates into your pathways, and I will probably buy the DLC at some point. Return to Castlevania does that too. They do make it a little bit easier, but I'll tell you this. After you finish this first part of Return to Castlevania, Richter will tell you, okay, and he has some story about Dracula's father and whatever. You have to play through in the future, in the next run you have to play through 2 bosses before you can get to the second stage of Return to Castlevania. So you have to go through the dude on the bridge, and then the concierge, and no, that is a concierge. Then the guy in the clock tower. Then from the clock tower, normally you would go from the clock tower to the castle. Now you can go to the castle or Dracula's castle.
Weird.
I know. And so I've been trying, to get through that part. So you have to get through that level. And then once you get through that level, I think eventually you can then fight Dracula.
That's not part of any DLC. That's the base game, correct?
No, that's the DLC.
The clock tower is the DLC?
No, the clock tower, you fight the boss, then you have the choice to go to...
My point is you have to go fight an old boss just to now unlock the DLC.
Yeah. I thought it would be a standalone game.
It's just weird.
Here's the kicker.
So weird.
So there's a secret, the quote-unquote secret Richter level, which is the level that plays like Castlevania. You have a whip. Like, that's the real, like, Castlevania, where it's like, it's not Dead Cells. To do that, you have to go to the second Dracula's castle, and you have to rescue Richter. And then on the future run, you have to go into the cage where you rescued Richter, and then you go into this secret level. So, I mean, you have to do several runs to see all the content. But here's the thing. The secret level with Richter is the worst part of the Return to Castlevania DLC. And this is why. Even though it's supposed to be real Castlevania and not Dead Cells themed Castlevania, the play mechanics feel totally different than a Castlevania game. When you jump, you have this jerky high motion, and it's like, it doesn't feel like Castlevania. Castlevania has a certain feel to it. It doesn't feel like Castlevania. So I actually I have been enjoying just playing Dead Cells and playing the Castlevania themed levels more than the secret level that's supposed to be real Castlevania. It is also hard as balls because no matter how powerful you are by the time you get there, and I'm getting really good at, I'll give myself credit here. I'm getting really freaking good at Dead Cells right now. I can cruise through Dead Cells on normal difficulty now. But when you drop into that level, you just have like, it's like 160 health and you've got a whip. You have to find your power-ups. I won't say what they are, but there's various power-ups you have to find, items, and you have to fight a boss. You are very underpowered. It does nothing. None of your progress carries over. It's more like a dream sequence. So I still haven't beaten that, and I keep trying, and I have to play through like 45 minutes of the game to just even try, and then I die. It doesn't end your run, and you can continue on, and then you can fight Dracula at the end of the game. That becomes the final boss of the game if you take the Castlevania route at the end there. It's great though. I love it. And there's some new weapons. Death Scythe is just an incredibly fun game to play with. A fun weapon to play with. So
nice.
Yeah. And I unlocked Simon Belmont's outfit. I'm playing with that.
I'm happy for you, John.
Yeah. I'm going to be playing Dead Cells for a while more. I love it. So Return to Castlevania is great. Don't get too high on the Castlevania level. And then the last thing, I know I'm going long, but last thing I'll just say, Hogwarts Legacy wrapped it up yesterday. Yesterday. It's great. Took me 27 hours to get through the campaign. It is a big open world. It's not Harry Potter. It's its own story. And I will say the story is bland. This is a game that is so polished. I don't think you've played this, right, Justin?
No.
Okay. It's a game that's so polished, it will shock you how polished this open world game is on day one. I don't think I encountered a single bug, probably one or two, but minor. I only had one crash, which came after I rolled credits. It came today, after I rolled credits. It is amazing the quality of product they put out on day one, and I assume it'll only get better. Finished it, and then afterwards, I don't know if I would say there's post-game content, but there's more like completion content, so you can keep going. And I'm going. I don't know where I'll end up, but the fun of open world games is like once you roll credits on it, it's like, okay, let me just do all the quests. Let me do all the things. Let me find all of this. And that's my wheelhouse, because I feel like at any time I can just stop. If I don't like it, I can just stop. I've done what I came here to do. All my main quests are done. So today I finished every Merlin trial in the game and maxed that out. And tomorrow I'll try to find all the loot, the warp zones, and just slowly go through it. I finished all the little side stories. There's these multi-part side stories with several characters that you have. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Fantastic. I will say I do not know how they're going to port this thing to Switch. Zero clue. And the big hitch to me, I think it's going to take a functional change. There is a lot of fast travel that you're going to do in this game. The castle is huge. The world is huge. I'm constantly fast travel to the rumor requirement, fast travel to the world, fast travel to Hogsmeade, fast travel to this class, because you just can't, it's too big to travel. And that's where Switch right now has its problems, is loading times.
Yeah.
The loading times of this game, if you play it the way I play it, is going to be insane. You're going to spend dozens of hours sitting at load screens.
Ugh.
My theory is the reason why the Switch port got delayed. What is it? I think it says July now or something like that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make some changes so that you can do things without traveling. And the biggest one will be Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade is where all the shops are. And so if you want to go to the shop and buy a potion, you got to fast travel to Hogsmeade. And then if you want to craft a potion, you have to, fast travel to the rumor requirement. I think if they just change up the UI so that you can do your rumor requirement potions remotely, if you can purchase from the potion shop without having to go there physically, that will save a lot of loading time and fast traveling for a Switch. So my prediction will be that when it comes out for Switch, there is going to be a big update that comes with it that will then apply to the other games, which lets you do all those things without having to go to Hogsmeade every single dang time. That's the only way I can see a Switch version working.
My prediction is it'll be cloud.
Or cloud. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great. I absolutely love it. Drew If you go with it, you'll absolutely love it.
I might.
So much
I mean,
fun.
the wife will 100% play it. I'm on the fence. We'll see what else is going on.
Yeah. And then one last thing, the houses. I was under the impression there was different side quests for the houses. And before the game came out, there was like on TikTok, people talking about, don't pick Ravenclaw, they have the least, or Hufflepuff or whatever. You should pick Slytherin, they have the most quests or whatever. I thought each house was going to have their own quests and I was going to play through this game 4 times. No, that's not the case at all.
So the same.
The quest lines are all the same. You have a
that's
different
great.
common room and whatever, but like it is really the same game.
Huh.
Absolutely bizarre. So you don't have to play it 4 times. You play it 1 time, try to complete it if you want to. That's it. But it's fantastic.
Very cool.
That's all I've been playing.
Nice. I got 2 chunky ones and a couple minor ones. So the first one I'm going to talk about is an update from last week. I played Dust and Neon. This is that retro-looking style. Not retro. It's more that neonish type looking roguelike twin-stitch shooter game. I started out hot in this game. I loved it. It was like a 7. It has now dropped to a 5 for a few reasons. There's a few problems. It's a road, but it's a broken road-like game where it's easy to get a lot of money, and when you die, you can buy back your guns that you had, right? So you hold 3 guns. Like I said, you have a revolver, a shotgun, and a rifle. So when you die, they go into this little thing. You can just buy them back. So unlike a normal road game, the whole point is you have good runs with good weapons, just like Dead Cells, John, right?
Mhm.
But imagine if you could buy back the best item. So like I could be like halfway through the game and I never need another gun again because I've already found the best of the best. And when I die, I just buy it back. So kind of a broken mechanic there. What this game does, I haven't talked about it yet, but it's unique. At first it was cool. At the end, it's just annoying. To reload your guns, you have to push the Y button for every bullet that you reload. So if you have a gun that holds 12 bullets, you can push Y 12 times.
What?
Boop, 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 boop. Oh yeah. And here's the worst part. It tries to do this cool thing where it shows the gun on the side of the screen. It probably takes up 25% of the screen, and it shows each bullet going in. The problem is the bad guys don't stop fighting you. So if the guys are on that side of the screen, you can't see them because the gun's there.
I see. Yeah, it's like a first-person shooter type.
Yeah, a little bit. Like it shows the gun. It's kind of odd. I also talked about like the way the levels progress. You have to be a certain level to fight the boss, which is so stupid. If I'm under leveled and I want to fight the boss, let me fight the boss and find out how hard he is. Because maybe I'm really good and maybe I could kill him, right? So why do I have to be level such and such?
Yeah, it's the challenge.
When I beat the game, right, I beat the 4 big bosses, I thought I was done. And I was like, no, there's the final boss. And there's no extra levels. It's just the final boss. I was like, great, let me go fight him. No, you have to be level 33. What level was I? 20-8. So what does that mean? I had to play 5 level. Well, I had to gain 5 levels. And let me tell you, it takes about 2 to 3 playthroughs of a level. So maybe like 3 to level up, which means I had to play 15 levels. I didn't need any new items. All I had to do was gain experience points just to go fight the final boss, which I ended up beating my first try. So it's like, what are you doing? And then in the last world, I did encounter a couple glitches. I showed you, John, that I had to turn the level off and restart. And when you did that, it counts you as dying. So now I had to go buy my guns back. Overall, the game was unique. I think it had a really good concept. They just didn't execute it. They executed poorly, unfortunately. So it started out really fun. And then once you had to start grinding more and you realized that the mechanic was broken for the road part of it, kind of went to shit for me. So dropped it down.
So basically what you're saying is you went from 7 inches to 5 inches while you played that game.
Yeah, it shrunk a little bit. Did. You got it.
That's crazy. It's so weird how artificial those limitations are.
I know. And this was a $30 game. And they showed this on a Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. A little disappointed there. I played
they showed Sports Story on a Nintendo Direct, by the way.
We'll talk about that. More fucking Pokemon I played. I'm at 80 hours now. 80 hours in Pokemon Shield. 80 fucking hours. I started the second DLC, Crown Tundra. I did about 40 Pokemon left to fill my Pokédex. Justin, here's one for you since you're not a Pokemon guy. I'm trying to evolve. You know the basic concept. I'm trying to evolve this Pokemon, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to look it up because they're weird things you have to do. I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. This is what, no joke. This is what I had to do. I'm playing on the TV because my kids are watching. I had to take the Switch out of the dock, play handheld, and as I was battling the last attack to kill a guy, so I would level up, I had to flip the Switch upside down and hit the A button while I'm holding it upside down. It was
awesome.
No, it was fucking stupid.
What? So what? So the actual mechanic has you. That's dumb.
It's something.
How would you discover that under normal circumstances?
I think if you probably talked to some fucking NPC somewhere, maybe it would say something about.
Who then breaks the fourth wall of, are you playing a device in a world that I'm in, and you turn me upside down and I press an A button?
It was crazy. It blew my mind. Like, I read it online and I'm like, no, that can't be true. And then I tried it 4 times and didn't work. And then it was like I didn't have sometimes the gyro sensors just don't work. Like, I didn't have it flipped over all the way. It was stupid.
That's dumb.
But I'm still grinding.
But I'm still playing.
I'm still playing it, baby. 40 more left.
But here I
am. Kirby, we talked about it a little bit. I'm almost done. I beat the first 5 worlds. There's a little bit of I don't want to say post game. It's not post game. It's just like every Mario game. There's that hidden worlds, right? Not really a spoiler. I've been playing with my kids. We only play with my kids. We only play as 4 players. I will say this has the best drop in, drop out for co-op I've ever played in any video game. You can legit just, I don't know, hold a button and you drop out, you hold a button, you drop back in. And at the same time, you can change characters between, Kirby, Waddle Dee, King Dedede, or Meta Knight, all right then and there. Super simple. It's awesome for that. We turned on the, you can't die. So if you fall down the hole, the guy just picks you back up and puts you on the platform for the kids.
Lakitu?
It's pretty much Lakitu, but whatever the guy's name is, Mago, whatever, you don't.
Oh, right. Drew.
I will say, just like when you play Mario with 4 people, it's fucking mayhem. Where, now think about it, Kirby, right? So what's the whole point of Kirby? Sucking.
To suck.
So what do? You suck up abilities. And John, let me tell you, it just means that they literally just suck up everything on the screen. So here I am just minding my business. I just got a great ability, and then my kid just steals it because you shouldn't be able to suck up other Kirbys. You know what I mean?
I can't with this.
Listen, I could say suck all night if you want me to.
The original game, you could only have one person be Kirby, and that was one of the biggest knocks on it, is everybody wants to be Kirby. So this is almost like Nintendo saying, look, here you go, you're all Kirby. Now look what happens, right? You're happy?
Yeah. Well,
you were so quick to ask. You didn't ask whether you should. Yes.
A little Ian Malcolm there.
Because you could,
Drew.
you should.
Okay, Drew, who's the best Kirby player in your family? Who is the worst?
Who sucks the most in your family?
Who sucks the most?
Who sucks the most and who
It's got to be one of the kids.
Oh, he's got to pick between the kids.
They like to be the rock ability, and then when you get the rock ability, you hold down, you just turn into a rock, and then you can't die. They do that a lot. So they both kind of suck.
Every time you say that, I just want Kirby to turn into the Rock.
Yeah, that
right, and just awesome. Brings up the elbow and stuff like that, and the eyebrow.
What's Kirby sucking?
If you smell Kirby sucking.
The last thing I want to talk about is called Soccer Story. This is you're
just glutton for punishment, aren't you?
Glutton. Soccer Story is recommended by Hambone. He told me to pick up this game. This is the game exactly between, if you had to say from I don't know how to say this. It's between Sports Story and Golf Story, somewhere in the middle there. It's not nearly as bad as Sports Story, but it's not nearly as good as Golf Story. This is an exact replica. This is if you could, plagiarize a game. This is what they did. They plagiarized. They use the same font. They use the same everything.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's actually really polished. It's really smooth. It's a lot of fun. I will say about this one, which I like, is it's the soccer matches aren't great. It's I don't know. I mean, I've played my fair share of soccer games, but this one just seems a little clunky when you play soccer. But everything else with the side quests and stuff, the way they use like the little quit soccer challenges are so much fun. Like for example, there's one, in one of like the world is like a beach world level.
There's a beach in this one too.
There is a beach, and there's there's these 3 kids learning to swim, and sharks keep coming, and you have to kick the soccer ball at the sharks to keep them away. Like there's just little fun challenges like that, and it's super. The controls are really good to control all the soccer stuff. Similar to like Golf Story, where you can just drop a ball and just hit it anywhere. Same thing with the soccer one. You drop your soccer ball and you can dribble with it. You can shoot it anywhere. There's all different types of shots. But I don't know, for some reason it works with soccer. It's like just dribbling around and shooting stuff and breaking security cameras and just doing fun little challenges.
Ooh.
It should be clear to note this is not the same developer as Sports Story or Golf Story at all.
But if you look at it,
they are doing a heck of a job to try and make you think they are.
Correct.
So that is very critical. So this is not designed by the same focus at all. So just be aware of that when you jump in. But they do a hell of a job trying to make you think it is. It
is. Like I said, it's not nearly as good as Golf Story, but I finished Sports Story. Let me tell you, this is significantly better than Sports Story. I'm about, I don't know, I want to say about 70%. You have to win 4 trophies. I've won 3 trophies. And then I think you probably have to play like the final match or some sort. I don't know how long that part will be. But I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
The developer is Panic Barn. And here's the games they've done. Not Tonight 2, Soccer Story, Tika Tika Soccer, Grab 'em All, Peck It Up, and Kickflip. I haven't heard of any of those games except for Soccer Story.
And did you hear about that before tonight?
It's their big hit. How's the story in this game? Is that a good story?
Soccer.
Funny you mentioned that because they're good at plagiarizing. And you know what? You know what happened in this story? The calamity happened, and it banned soccer from the world. Right? So they call it every
Wouldn't be terrible.
World you go to. They call it goal ball or
yes.
It's the story's the story.
No more fupa. So basically, you're saying the soccer isn't great.
And they call it something called football. So football.
The soccer isn't great, and the story isn't great. Is Drew's review? Thanks.
That's it. But hey, I'd give it like
somehow
a solid 6.5 or a 6.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm
higher
having
than Neon Dust.
I mean, that would be a bad.
Yes,
I mean, I gave
is.
Live Alive a 7. Our scales are different.
That's what you asked.
There's 2 different scales, everybody. My 7 is worse than his 6.5.
Let's get to the meat.
Welcome to the meat. Now, Justin, when we have a guest on the show, we like to put them through something. It's called the Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet.
Okay.
Where we like to ask our guest 10 questions. And the idea of these questions are pretty much anything. They're going to be some dirty questions. They're going to be some professional, some family questions, some video game questions. You name it's on there. The idea is kind of like a rapid fire. But it's all for fun. It's just
question number 1.
Okay, let's do it.
That's it. That's all you need to know. All right, question number 1. If you could be a professional athlete, for what sport would it be?
Rugby.
Wow.
All right.
I didn't know the Masson family was so into rugby. I learned something today.
Oh yeah, I played it for I coached, refed, ran clubs, played ball 10 years of my life. As a matter of fact, if you're watching the live stream over here, there is a rugby jersey that's hanging up, signed by the Munster rugby team, which is a pretty cool jersey. I'm a massive rugby fan.
Huge.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
What's your favorite American food?
Wow. What is my favorite American food? I will tell you the American food that I have whenever I am in the U.S., specifically over on the East Coast. So Drew, this is close to you. I love a good lobster roll. And I love it from Boston specifically. They make some fantastic lobster rolls in the Boston area.
They do. Good. That's
there's no one specific like American treat or something that I'm always like, I have to have that when I'm
in Boston. There's nothing special. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
You just shit on the country. There's nothing special here at all.
There's nothing special.
What do we have?
I do like your lobster rolls. It's great.
Yeah.
Sorry?
What do we really have? Hot dogs, hamburgers? I mean, I can't even name like 10 American foods.
Yeah.
Next episode.
All right. Justin, would you rather be teabagged by Bowser or shit on by Donkey Kong?
This is Drew's question.
I think I'm gonna have to take the teabag probably.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I assumed you were such a big Donkey Kong fan that just even though you're being shit on by Donkey Kong, just the proximity to Donkey Kong is an opportunity that you couldn't pass up.
There's a lot there that I think the moment I'm being shit on that changes my relationship with him. I don't know if I'm okay with that. I would already expect to be teabagged by Bowser. That feels like in the real the like scope of what I would expect from him.
That's a fair point.
Right?
I like it.
That's so yeah.
Would you rather be trampled by a moose or bitten by a rattlesnake in the balls?
Trampled by a moose.
Wow, and you of all people would know better than most about a moose.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Do not like snakes at all. So
take the moose. All right, this is
my favorite question. This is my favorite one.
Fuck, marry, kill. Your 3 Nintendo Dad co-hosts.
All right, Justin's leaning back. His arms are folded. I think he's envisioning sex with his co-host and figuring out which one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say kill Marty. Probably marry Jesse.
Why not?
Just looks like a level-headed kind of guy, and last option's Tim. Right? That's all you got.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Okay, when you pee at a urinal, do you use your fly or do you unbutton and unbuckle your belt?
This fucking question, man.
It's a simple answer.
You unbuckle your belt, unbutton your button, and open your fly appropriately.
Wow, you don't just. You know what? Well, okay,
no,
I respect your answer.
No, what? No.
But that's what it's there for.
No, that is not what that is there for.
It's 100%.
It is part of the parcel, but that is not what that is there for.
Let's move on.
Drew likes to live dangerously. We don't know why.
What is the worst video game your kids love?
Oh, what is the worst video game my kids love? That's a great question. Right now, Party Planet. Party Planet is a game. It's like just a multiplayer. It's like so many little party games on this thing, and my kid loves it. And it's not that I hate it, but it's like could we? You know what? The other one I would say was Happy Home Design Animal Crossing. They used to play that on the 3DS all the time, and it was just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Yeah, those are some pretty rough ones.
Okay. Would you quit video games for life for $250,000?
Yes.
Wow. Usually, like Drew has asked that question to several other people. They always negotiate up. They negotiate $500,000, $1 million.
But that's not the question. No. I respect Justin for just giving me the answer.
Yeah. Sorry, is that 250 Canadian or American dollars?
Let me ask choice. I don't know the
Okay, then I'll take American dollars. That'll work just
fine. We'll give you that.
Yeah, that converts to almost $500,000 Canadian, so that's fine.
Yep, deal. All right, when you drop S-bombs on the Nintendo Dads, is it accidental or are you just making Jesse do extra work?
Sometimes it's definitely to make Jesse do more work, for sure. Like I 100% know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And it'll be coming out of my mouth, and I can feel it, and I have the opportunity to stop it, but then I'm like, nah, we're gonna keep going, right? Just to see what happens. Because what I love watching is him all of a sudden like sitting far back in his chair, and then he has to like smarten up, and you see him like roll off screen to find a pen and a paper. And then the fun part is sometimes I go back and actually just check if he caught it. And so, that's always fun. I like that journey.
That's
a good time.
All right, number 10. If you gave up the Nintendo Dads, what would your next adventure of podcasting be about?
Wow. What would it be? I think it would actually be, I think it'd still be in the video game sphere. I think it would be specifically about the business of video games. So like having conversations with developers, publishers, and also like breaking down like, hey, these are why decisions are being made in video games. This is why this is occurring. This is why Jim Ryan's holding a bit of a fit. Right. And so that I think would probably be it. Or I'd just be happy to be like a farewell tour talking head on shows. Right. I think that'd be fun as well.
I think the business one's a good idea, right? Because I think there's a lot of people, like you said, it's almost like you're speaking for the people in the video game, like all those questions we have for publishers and the Dead Cells. Why would you design DLC that way? You know? You know, like
the challenge I sometimes have so often, and I know, like I kind of hurt Marty's feelings sometimes when I say this. I'm like, if they're not your friend, they don't care. It's about money. That's the thing, right? And so I think people push and pull on that. Why didn't Nintendo do this? Why isn't Xbox doing this? Like, there are so many dollars and bills and people and livelihoods, like careers at stake behind these conversations. They are not as simple as like, I want this game, right? It just doesn't occur. And a little bit even like to John's question earlier, like, do you want Metroid Prime 2 and 3? Like, my fan answer is yes. My logical business person perspective is yes, but it won't happen because there's no way they would have had 5 Metroid games moving at one time, because that is too much of a risk for a game that doesn't sell as well as they would like it to. Yeah. Do they have 5 Pokemon games going at once? No. But that game sells like gangbusters. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like, that's the push and pull. And so sometimes you got to be the asshole who has that like, I know this isn't the thing you wanted, but let me tell you why. Pat on the head, right? And so that's that. That sometimes I try not to be an asshole about it, but sometimes you got to like pull people in and be like,
"That's true."
There's money behind all these decisions. Nobody does these things because they think, "Boy, I sure hope you want this." Right? Yeah. I sure hope you like this, because it makes us money, and that's why they do things. They're adherent to their stockholders.
And quite frankly, a lot of people bring stuff up like, why doesn't Nintendo release a new F-Zero? And it's like, it's not going to sell. No. Like they've done that. Like it's not going to sell. It's if they think it's going to sell, they'll make it.
Yeah, they do surveys. They look across the market. They know.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, you survived the gauntlet. Congrats.
All right, I've got a reverse gauntlet question for you.
Ooh, bring it.
Okay, you ready? This is just one question.
Sure.
I'll actually preface this. Do either of you wear belts?
Yes.
No.
Every day.
So John, you do not wear a belt.
I barely wear jeans anymore, so no, I usually don't. Yeah, I usually go.
You wear pants, John.
Okay.
When I do, no belt.
Yeah, when I do, you know. So let me ask you this, Drew. You're gonna wear. You're putting on. You're getting ready for the next day. You're putting your. You know you're gonna wear a belt.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you. There's 2 options for doing this.
Sure.
Do you belt your pants prior to putting them on? Or you put your pants on and then slide the belt around?
Yeah.
Pants on and then the belt.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you what, the belt should always match your shoes.
100%.
And your socks need to match your shirt.
Correct.
Whoa. Socks match the I did not know about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that one can be a bit questionable depending on your sock, right?
You might have like 10 different colors of
business Argyle socks. It's a bit of fun, whatever. But yes, shoes have to match your belt.
Okay.
And if you're really good, your belt and your shoes match your watch strap, potentially. If you're really matching.
The diversity there, yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you. We're on the same page.
So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this right now. I pre-belt my pants before putting them on.
Do you put them back on the hanger afterwards?
Nope.
That's my question.
No, you can't.
No. So I pull my so let's say I'm getting dressed in the morning. I pull my pants off of my hanger. I grab my belt. I pre-install the belt around the belt loops. Then I put my pants on, ready to go.
I feel like that's more work. No, like I feel like it's easy once it's on. It's just
because you're 100% making sure every single loop is there, right?
I'm going to try it tomorrow morning. I'm going to try it tomorrow morning for you.
So unbelt your pants tonight. Like if you haven't, just try it. It's a game changer. It makes your day more efficient.
This could be this could be the one.
And also, folks, if you're listening to this in the podcast, I want you to reply. Maybe you guys can put this on your Twitter page as a poll. Sure. How do you do your pants?
This is the new urinal question.
I'm going to put that poll out tomorrow morning before people hear this. And they're like, what the hell? Like
insight. This is like a preview.
Also, I'm going to tell you right now, just as an early insight to that data point, it is about a 10% of people do the pre-belting of the pants.
Yeah, I was going to say that's got to be on the smaller side.
Low percentage, but I'm going to tell you, 100% I can reassure you that those 10% people are absolute fucking brilliant and amazing at sex. Yeah. Scientifically proven. And big cocks. So you decide.
Well,
so basically Justin is pre-belting his pants while Drew is unzipping and trying to pull his dick through.
Yeah.
I see why this is
I got some big
happening.
dick energy. I don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll let you guys know tomorrow how I feel.
All right. Good. I love it.
Great
Can't
question. Wait. Well, before we move on to the direct meet, I want to just have a little open conversation here because since we have Justin, take the time and opportunity to talk about the brand of Dads After Dark, because it's actually a quite the old brand, right? John and I guess you could say maybe stole it, inherited it. John, God, how long have we been doing on now? 3 years, 4 years?
I will say, accidentally stole it. I did not know there was a Dads After Dark when we were coming up with kind of our theme.
Let me
did
rephrase it. I don't think it was ever officially called Dads After Dark, but it was an After Dark channel. We changed it. We added Dads After Dark because we wanted the acronym Dads, because that's how we are. But there was always an After Dark channel for that raunchy conversation. And I think, toot our own horn, I think we took it to a whole new level at times.
You did well.
I guess I'll throw it over to you, Justin, fairly quick. Tell us about it, right? Because this is like a 10-year-old concept for us.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those of you who don't know, like the core OG Nintendo Dads, we've been running for 8.5 years now, coming up to 9 here in October. And what we originally had when it was just me, Jesse, and Zach is after a show would end, if there was additional content that we wanted to talk about, and maybe it was like, hey, let's talk about Doctor Strange, or let's talk about a Marvel, or a show or a game or something that's not in the Nintendo Dad sphere, we would just kind of like basically end the recording and we would continue, and it was just called After Dark. And now, knowing if you both know Jesse and Zach, it wasn't raunchy content, right? There was no one swearing. It might get, maybe Jesse drops like, oh shit, like that's about it. Like it wasn't super anything crazier, but it allowed for us to explore other additional content that was not part of our main show. And typically you would get Dads After Dark content. We would publish that as part of our Patreon to folks, right? And it was just a Patreon bonus, kind of like a post show, but this was essentially, there was no real cadence to it. So it was just this kind of moniker that we used every once in a while and published it out. When you guys in 3.5 years ago or whatever,
3.5 years ago.
Yeah, it was so awesome, and I want to give you guys kudos. I love the fact that you have taken this show and just ran with it and allowed for it to grow and blossom into its own content. Like you're 121 episodes in, you're driving your own content. Like, man, it is incredible. So yeah, I think you guys have talked like, hey, can we run with this idea? And it was like, just go. And you guys have done such an amazing job. You've created your own content. You've created your own community. It's just amazing stuff. And like, we were just so proud of you guys, the content you put out, the community you've built, and just being part of the larger Nintendo Dads community. Behind the curtain stuff, like, people don't know, but like, you guys do so much for our monthly mayhem. You actively keep our community involved. You engage with them. Like, you guys are just so awesome and such a critical part to the bigger group in the community, our corner of the internet, as we sometimes call it. That, man, I'm just so happy that you guys are part of it.
Well done. And I think I'll say for Jonathan's after me, but no, thank you for you as well, right? Because again, you trying to give us the opportunity, you believed in us. I mean, if you remember back, right, we were on the Nintendo Dads channel, and our apologize. I know you got a few nasty reviews because people are like, why are these guys here? Like, who are they? And why are they saying futs and shits and asses on
They're incredible. No.
Yeah. The part that always makes me laugh about that, right? And I think we had done we have the main feed of Nintendo Dads. This is a little bit of a behind the curtain. And we had I think your first episode had gone out, and I remember my daughter listening. She was 5 or 6 at this year, and she had Alexa on in her room, and she's like, play the latest episode of Nintendo Dads. Well, we had put you in our main feed, right? And so I'm like, oh, she's gonna, and I didn't even think about it. And I walked past the room, and there's John like, holy fuck, guys. And I was like, oh no.
Drew had the mouth early on.
Sorry, yeah,
always Drew.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So I remember like having to send a mail to like, or a message over to Jesse. I'm like, we need, like, they can't be on our channel.
Yeah.
We can't do that feed. And then I got like emails the next day of like, I come to you for family friendly shows. This is not okay to be on here. I listen to this show with my kids. And I was like, totally, like, not a problem. Yeah. We're going to create its own separate channel, its own separate space. Not a problem. And then Jesse hadn't finished it yet and posted your second episode to our main channel again. And I was like, you can't do that. Like, I need you to Like, well, they had their content ready. I was like, then you need to be ready. If the channel's not done, wait for the channel to be done. They can wait a day before you post, but I cannot deal with these emails of like people just roasting us for the content.
And I remember we had the you sent us the voice clips. I know John has saved them too.
Yeah.
There was like 10 versions of it of you trying to give in like you probably shouldn't be listening to this, but you know,
if you listen to them all one after another, it's just hilarious. It's just like Justin coming up with reasons to like almost like apologize, just like, this is a tough one. So good.
It was, but again, the nice, So I mean, there were some growing pains around that, but now like, we know the brand, and it's even funny, right? There's a joke in our show of like, I'll cuss, and all of a sudden Jesse's like, come on now, we're not the After Dark show, right? Like, I'm like perfect. Like, you took that idea and you just ran with it, and it's amazing to see what you guys have created.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Well, you know, I think we found a little bit of a niche market, right? Because there are older Nintendo fans, right? And there are people that like the After Dark, and it's not all just, you know, tits and ass, and which it is. When it is, it's great, but you know, it's not, and that's fine as well. But no, again, thank you. I mean, for helping us set it up. I remember, you know, Jesse was posting everything, and then we created a new channel, and Jesse was still posting, and we're like, you know, why don't we just do that? Like, we can do that, Jesse. Like, we know how to do that. Like, we're capable. And then, you know, we ended up switching it over, and I know Jesse still posted on the YouTube, and then you started saying, hey, how do you guys feel about also joining in with Manscaped with us? We're like, perfect. I mean, that fits us. You know, we can talk about all of that type of stuff every day. We do it anyway.
Oh, we wanted Manscaped before they became a sponsor. We were like, oh, it'd be the perfect show to do Manscaped. And then it happened. We willed it into existence.
Yeah, it was so funny because they sent me a message and they were like, yeah, we've got this thing. And I would look at some of the reads. I was like, some of the ad reads sometimes are a little bit probably over what we want over at the OG Nintendo Dads. And then I'm like, you know where this needs to really go. Yeah. And it was, and I just said to them, I was like, just start sending out 5 or 6 packages instead of 4, because I've definitely got the right audience. Yeah. And I remember getting an email from Manscaped once. They're like, so Dad's After Dark, is that you also? And I was like, yeah, you're getting extra reads here. And they're like, because they do a good job. I was like, I know they do a good job.
Oh my God, they did not.
I was like, that's why they have the product. That's why I sent you them. And they're like, this is great. I was like, there you go. So that's why you guys are part of that read, because it fits your brand, right?
It does.
You know, it's funny whenever people talk about like advertising, right? We don't, you know, we have been asked, and I'll, you know, pull the curtain back. We've been asked to promote other stuff, right, for ads. And what my commentary about it is I look at like, where does that fit in our ecosystem, right? For our listeners, for our community, for our content. And I don't want to I'm not going to shill for shilling's sake, but rather, does it fit? And I think Manscaped is such a great product placement with your audience. I think it works well with our audience as well, right? But that's kind of the things that we want to make sure that they align and they match, and that it's a natural fit for us. So
no, absolutely. So again, thank you for helping us grow as well. You know, like I said, we wouldn't be here without you and all of the guys. So appreciate that.
Just a bit of context. Our first episode, Drew, was about Wii U ports that we wanted to see come over to the Switch. Very innocent. Second episode was Switch Hotties, who we thought the hottest Nintendo characters were. So that's second episode. Big mistake, Jesse.
And buy it.
Yeah, that one may have been the problem.
That was the title.
All right. Yep. Let's talk about the last Mario movie direct. We saw it this week. They really set this up for like, you know, like a 1-minute trailer. And I don't think any of us needed the trailer. I think we're all going to go. I got tickets opening night. Drew, nice. I think you have tickets Friday night. Justin, I don't know if you have tickets or
not yet. I'm going to be picking up soon, though. I'm just figuring out who's available to go with me. To be honest, who's getting shuttled around? What's going on?
I'm terrified of spoilers. So we are picking up our kids the first day, and we got a 4:30 showing. I never watch movies on the first day, but I don't want any spoilers. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
But what did you think? What do we all think of the final trailer and overall, like from what you have seen? What are you the most excited about?
Similar to the other one. I actually think it wasn't the best of the 3 trailers, to be honest.
I agree.
But I don't think it has to be. I mean, I don't think they showed us anything too new or.
Luna, I think, is.
Luna. Oh my God, that was so good.
That was funny.
I love the sweet release of death. I was like, yes, like yes, whatever that I just want a whole movie of that.
Rosalina, does that mean Rosalina is going to be in this movie, or?
in theory, right?
Like
that's a confirmation of Rosalina existing in the universe, at least.
Yeah.
I actually originally thought was it a star from the one of those weird things from Mario and Rabbids? Because they kind of look like those weird sparks. I was thinking, was that it initially?
I agree with that. But
then someone's like, it's Luna. I was like, oh, okay, yep, that makes total sense now. That makes more sense.
So let me ask you guys this question: do you think that they? And we haven't seen the movie. We've only seen trailers, which is probably really 5% of the movie. But I mean, are they blowing their load too much? Like, are they going to try to jam too much in? And that's the only thing I'm afraid of. Like, we saw a little bit of like Luigi almost looking like he was in a mansion, like the Luigi's Mansion aspect of it. We're seeing the Mario Kart stuff. I mean, who knows if we'll see any Mario Sports stuff? It might not.
Switch Sports.
So Mario Sports.
I think the nice part that I've seen so far, like we can kind of piece together the assumption of the story, right?
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi are in Brooklyn. Somehow they get transported to this magical world. By the way, Luigi goes the wrong way. Mario ends up the Mushroom King. Luigi ends up over in Bowser's wherever. He is snagged. And now Mario needs help with the princess to save Luigi. Like that's kind of the plot of the movie, I think, summarized. I don't think so we all know where this is going. Right, we all know the outcome is Luigi will be saved. Spoiler alert. Right, like, but I'm just here for the good ride.
Agreed.
What I love about it is just the layers of Easter eggs and nostalgia, and it's hitting at different levels. So, like for us who are massive Nintendo fans, like when we see that, are like, oh my gosh, I know that call out. Oh my gosh, I know that level. I know that sound. Blah blah. And for others, are like, oh, this is just colorful and cool. Oh, and I do know Mario. Right. So there's like layers and levels to this film, which I think allows for it to just kind of tell more story. Right. And so I think it's going to be great. And again, this is Illumination. These are the folks who brought you Minions and Gru and all that stuff, right? Like this is going to do well. This is perfectly in their wheelhouse.
It's going to do well, but and we all listen to a lot of Nintendo podcasts, right? This is going to be great. It's going to break records and stuff, and it might. But I guess my question is it going to be too niche, right? It's Mario. The thing about Minions and Sing and Shrek and those other Illumination movies were like anybody can dive into that world and love Minions because you don't need to know anything else. Are people going to see this like, oh, that's Mario, that's Nintendo, I don't really play video games, I don't care about that movie? Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think so, because I think, Mario is one of the most recognizable mascot characters that currently exists.
Agreed.
Yeah. Right. So I don't. And so whether you know Mario as we know Mario, or you've just like, oh, I've seen him in a video game and here and there, and I've seen him on lunchboxes. Like, I think he's ubiquitous enough that I think it's too niche. I think it fits really well. And I think Nintendo's going to have a pretty solid time with it.
It's also a first movie. I mean, it's not like this is the third movie coming out or whatever. It's a first movie. So if you don't know it, or barely know it, you'll be introduced to it. Nothing to worry about.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think they're creating some Mario and Luigi's origin story, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Do you think, you're saying Mario saves Luigi or whatever. Remember the Transformers movie from the 80s where Optimus Prime dies at the end? Mm-hmm. What if we see a major Mario character die in this movie?
Oh, you can't. Nope. You cannot. That will not happen. You think Miyamoto's gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, let's kill Luigi.
Kill Luigi off.
Like, no, this is, and you got to remember, this audience is still a kid's audience. You might have a fake out.
That's worse than Justin dropping an F-bomb on Nintendo Dads.
What if they kill Luigi off, and at the end of the movie, boom, a trailer for the new Mario game, Mario Odyssey 2, Luigi's dead.
I love that energy.
to hell and back, resurrecting Luigi.
Maybe in the game, Luigi comes back from the dead.
Yeah, I think you can have a fake out. I think you can have a fake out that you think someone's dead or whatever, but they're not going to be. Like, there's no way they're killing off anyone in this.
Yeah.
I think this is just popcorn fun. I think it's going to be great. I look forward to all the Easter eggs. I want that soundtrack to be out now.
Yes.
Like, that is, like, every time they have started this, like, such amazing use of remixes of music that we know, right? It's just like, I'm like, I need that now. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. My favorite part of the trailer, though, is the Mario Kart scenes that we saw. We saw more Mario Kart in this trailer. it's Mario Kart. You know what it reminds me of? Ready Player One, the movie version. Remember the big car racing scene near the beginning?
Yep.
That reminds me of this.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, and I also am going to predict here and now, I'm probably going to cry at some point in this movie. I think they are going to do a tug at our heartstring at some point in this movie. They're going to have some reveal or whatever. There's going to be like one of those not like cry, but like nostalgic tear sort of moments that's waiting for us. And they're going to be like, I dare you to cry in front of your children. I dare you. It's like, that's what it's going to be. You have to hold it back. Be dad. Drew won't cry. He's a heart of stone.
Yeah, he has no emotions.
Zero.
He's still trying to figure out the whole belt and belt loop scenario right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell's going on?
Be upside down or backwards or.
Oh my Lord. All right, that's not the only direct we got this week. We got a Pokemon direct, and we're gonna have our resident Pokemon expert, Drew, talk about anything jump out at you in this Pokemon direct, and then Justin, I'm gonna have you. Anything in this convince you that you need to jump into the world of Pokemon?
This was weak in my opinion. Not much really happened. I will say the only thing I was actually excited for was the new Netflix show, the Pokemon Concierge, because my son likes watching it. He likes watching Pokemon, and I don't have to watch Ash anymore. I can watch Psyduck waddle around. What's that?
I was gonna say I want Pokemon White Lotus. It's the first thing that jumped into my mind. It has been in my mind the whole time.
That's pretty much what it is.
A hotel. I want Pokemon White
Mystery
Lotus.
murder. Yeah, like a Pokemon dies every episode, and the whole point. Yeah, that's I mean, even the Violet. I mean, you knew DLC was coming for Violet and Scarlet, right? So no shock there. But I played the game. I beat the game. I thought it was a fine game. But this DLC is not making me want to jump back in. It didn't look that appetizing. I mean, I don't know. Just from the outside in, even from that point of view, what did it look anything special?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem I have, right? So first, I am frustrated with the Pokemon Company. I think the status of Violet and Scarlet is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
That game should not have been released. That game needed 6 more months in the oven, right? But what you're seeing, I think, is the Pokemon machine that is so big that it cannot be stopped, because it is not simply a video game. It is an animated series. It is plushies. It is toys. It is lunchboxes. It is playing cards. It is all of that. And so I think like the state of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and yes, they have put out some patches, right? But that problem still isn't fixed. But by the way, we've moved on now, and here's the DLC, which by the way, there isn't a ton that's really shown and displayed yet, right? Like you are selling other
Very
things with a problem that is still there, and you haven't resolved that. But that speaks of a couple of things. They're not fucking wrong because it's sold, right? Shame on us as the consumers to say, yeah, I'm okay with this. Like, we have just told them, you can put out a shitty product, we're still going to pay for it. And they're like, well, then do we need to try? Right? If we talk about the business part of it, the numbers part of it, we've shown them that you don't need to try, and we're okay with that. And so I'm not shocked by the DLC. I'm not shocked by it. The next monetization, it totally logically makes sense. But the status of Scarlet and Violet was absolutely atrocious. And I think that something needs to stop, right? And so that was disappointing. I think those things need to be resolved before you move forward. I think you just need to fix that, because now here's the thing: can Pokemon as a brand take a couple badly developed games? Yes, because it's too big, right? It is a multi-billion-dollar company with multiple assets. Oh, our games industry isn't doing great because we put out a broken game. By the way, our shows are selling. By the way, our cards are selling. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? And so that for me is a real challenge with the Pokemon Company. It continues to develop as a lifestyle brand, right? Pokemon Sleep is another great example of it. That is creepy as shit.
It really is.
Right? So I struggle with it, but it is a ubiquitous quantity, right? Like, everyone is upset that on Pokemon Day, you didn't get Pokemon Red and Blue for the Nintendo Switch, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be, I don't know. It's kind of like you can be mad. Pokemon Company, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yep. And they did not announce the patch, I think, on their direct, but it did come out after. And I had been...
They're not going to announce that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I was waiting for this patch. I was waiting for this patch to play Violet, and Drew was there, and I downloaded the patch, and I played the game, and like finally, maybe I can play it. And the game was still as janky as I've seen, and so I stopped. And it's like, okay, that was disappointing. Whatever. And like you said, it did sell well, but how many of those people bought the game? Because you really can't return a game, so you don't know how people felt about the game. Mm-hmm. How many of those people bought the game, was like, this is kind of like not great for me or whatever, just, you know, turned off by performance and won't buy the next one. So I think you might not see.
How many people played the game, right, that aren't podcast listeners, that don't go look on Pokemon.com website, that look up the news and shit about it, that play the game and like, oh, this is great? Because I'll be honest, I played the entire game without, and I played it at release, so before any patches. I had 0 glitches, 0 freezes, 0 anything. Did it look great? Maybe not perfect, but it was a Switch, and it performed to the need. You know, it met the needs of me playing the game and beating the game.
How
many
everyone...
other people were like me?
No, a lot of people. Yeah, no, it doesn't mean everybody should be like. And I'm certainly.
Well, are we talking about the 5%? And
5%
point, I don't disagree. I agree with Justin that it's unacceptable from their point of view.
Right.
But is it really only unacceptable for 5%?
Well, here's the deal. You know, in the time that it was captured. So this is, I just went and got some sales real quick here. 6 weeks. It was available for 6 weeks and sold 20.61 million copies. So that's is more than the podcasting and video game connoisseurs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that is landing in Nintendo's all-time charts. I think pretty close to number 5 for a game that was out for 6 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So because again, by the way, you're putting it at that November, like whenever Pokemon's like a game is coming out later this year, it's the week before Black Friday. It's always the week before Black Friday because you make a shit ton of money. Right. That's how this works. It became the Christmas game. Right. And so, but it was a broken Christmas game.
Agreed.
So, I don't know.
It was a broken game. I mean, my kid plays a lot of Lego games, and he's gotten to know that Lego games break, they freeze. You have to just restart the game. My point is that when that happens in a Lego game, man, it froze. What does he do? He restarts. Whether, you know, for us, it'd be a pain in the butt. But from a 6-year-old, he doesn't care. And he boots it back up and he just starts back over again. So,
but that's for Evan.
It's
I don't buy Lego games anymore. So, like, for every Evan, there is a me who used to buy Lego Star Wars and whatever, and now doesn't.
I don't think there's a you for every Evan. I think there's 4 Evans or 5 Evans for every you.
Quite possibly. But like, I didn't play Skywalker Saga because I just kind of like was turned off by the way it looked on the Switch. So I'm not saying what the numbers are. I'm just saying is there are cases like, and the next time a Pokemon game comes out, I'm going to be very glued to the reviews and seeing like, is this going to be janky? Because I started Pokemon Sword a few days ago because I want to fill that Pokemon hole in my heart.
Game's so perfect.
And I've played the game in the past. I played Shield. I just don't want to play Scarlet and Violet. But I'm not anti-Pokemon. I just want to play the smoother looking game and you know, so it's there. All right.
Good chat.
Everyone, Pokemon Sleep. By the way, I finished my Pokedex in Pokemon Smile when that game came out. So I'm not going to do Sleep, but Pokemon Smile is pretty good. All right, we're going to talk about real quick. Drew, you can take a little nap for a second here.
Thank you.
Big story that came out this week is Jim Ryan, who is the Sony Interactive president. Basically, he's the face of PlayStation America. There is an Activision Blizzard deal. Xbox is trying to acquire Activision Blizzard, a little company you might have heard of, Diablo, you know, Candy Crush, that sort of thing. And Call of Duty, I guess? I don't know. Never heard of it.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So there was a story that came out this week, which I thought was hilarious because everyone went crazy over it. According to Activision Blizzard Executive Vice President and the CCO, Jim Ryan, behind closed doors, said back in February, last month, I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger. This became sensational news. A few people on social media had opinions about it. It's still trending on Twitter right now. That's how long this has gone. And I wanted to bring this up because I knew Justin would be interested in this topic. I just want to hear your initial take on Jim Ryan.
And water is wet.
I mean, wouldn't he be a shitty president if he didn't want that?
Yes.
Like, this is exactly what he wants. Like, I'm sorry. Are any of us shocked by this? Because this is exactly what he's been doing. This is exactly his narrative. He does not want this merger to go through, right? He doesn't want Xbox's deal. He just doesn't want the deal to go through. Xbox, like, listen, this is why they're like, we've made the same offer to Sony, and Sony's not taking it. Sony's like, yeah, fucking no duh. I don't want this deal. I just don't want you to get it. Right? Because I get more skin, I get more games, I get more sales. It's better for me. It is better for this deal not to happen than for him to take the deal. They will only sign this deal. Jim Ryan will only sign this deal when like the actual, like, the deal is about to go through. When it looks like the lawyers are like, Jim, we ain't winning this one.
Right.
You best sign a deal. Then he's gonna, like, on the last moment sign. Like, if we see a news headline, it will be Jim Ryan signs Xbox Call of Duty deal for 10 years, and like an hour later it will say Xbox Activision deal has gone through. That is how that is going to happen. Jim, this is exactly what Jim should do. This is what any president should do in this scenario.
I agree. And here's some more evidence in case you don't need it, right? There has never been a game developer as big as Activision Blizzard bought by any of the major console makers, right? We have seen Sony buy, Housemarque, Bungie, right? Like, it's just, these are like individual developers. We've seen that before. That's fine or whatever. Bethesda got bought by Xbox, which was, I think at that point, the biggest. Activision Blizzard dwarfs that. Here's why Jim Ryan, I'm all for Jim Ryan here, okay? Here's why Jim Ryan doesn't want this to happen. I'll give you some reasons. Starfield was a Bethesda game that was going to be on PlayStation 2, and now it's an Xbox exclusive. Elder Scrolls 6, that is by all reports going to become an Xbox exclusive. That was a game PlayStation players have been wanting for years. Redfall, that is a studio that has always made games for PlayStation, sometimes just for PlayStation, and now that is going to be an Xbox exclusive. Double Fine, a popular developer, is now Xbox exclusive following the release of Psychonauts 2. Tango Gameworks put out Hi-Fi Rush, pretty darn cool game. That is now Xbox exclusive company. Rare is Xbox exclusive. When Bungie was initially purchased by Xbox, they made Myth and all that, and then Halo became Xbox exclusive. Ninja Theory is another great example. They made Hellblade. I enjoyed it on Switch. Hellblade 2 is now only going to be on Xbox. This happens, and all of this while Phil Spencer has been famously quoted as saying, like, he wants more gamers to play games everywhere, and he tries to make it sound like it's all about a community. We're all bros, you know what I mean? But games constantly become exclusive under Xbox. I'm not saying he's made a bad decision there. If you think buying Ninja Theory is a great idea and bringing in Hellblade 2, that's fine. PlayStation does that too. That is fine. But that is why Jim Ryan doesn't want to see Diablo, and he doesn't want to see Call of Duty and all these other games go Xbox exclusive. It's bad business for PlayStation. And what I think is the bigger point, it's bad for PlayStation owners. And Jim Ryan, that is his job to offer the best experience for PlayStation owners. From my point of view, I don't care about Call of Duty, but I care about Diablo. And if you told me Diablo 4 was about to become an Xbox exclusive, and I don't want to get into, will it be? I don't think it will be, but if you told me that was about to happen, I'd be pissed off, and I would want Jim Ryan sort of fighting for me. So yeah. I get it. And like you said, yes, he doesn't want the merger to go through. This is obvious.
Yeah. The other interesting thing that, like, to think about is for it to become exclusive is actually a bad deal. It's a bad deal for Xbox, right? Because sure, Xbox has their own console. We want you to come to our console, but really, like, if you put on, let's use Call of Duty as a great example. If it's already on PlayStation, you can access it on PlayStation, you can access it on Switch. Xbox gets a revenue cut of that, right? So you're not just using your own install base, you're using somebody else's install base. Now that becomes interesting. That's a revenue share. That's a market of generating more and more money. I've said this before. We already heard rumors of, like, COD is going to come to the Nintendo Switch, and there's already some conversations that it won't be taking a lot of money or a lot of time to do that. Yeah, no duh. Right? The moment that it is available, they're going to try and get COD out there to 120 million Nintendo Switch platforms as quick as possible, because that is revenue they can start pulling in. So although I think there's this idea that it could be exclusive, I think from a business perspective, you got to remember, they just wrote a check for $69 billion.
Billion.
Yeah, I need to make that back quickly.
Yeah.
So we're not going to make it exclusive for quite a long time because we're going to keep revenue sharing, keep money coming into our organization. That's what they're going to do. You leverage somebody else's install base. Xbox has the smallest install base of everyone. Let's just leverage someone else's stuff.
Yep. And PlayStation has the biggest install base for it. So
shy of Nintendo.
But PlayStation just knowing that at any given point Xbox can pull it. Another thing that came up was that even if you sign a deal with Xbox, like there's ways around it. And one of the things that came up was this fear that they would intentionally make the PlayStation version not as good.
Yeah.
And while it's like you can talk about, is that a conspiracy theory? Would Xbox do that, make themselves look bad or that sort of thing? I mean, you can have that debate. I don't even want to get into it because I don't care, but it's true. Like the Nintendo Switch version of Call of Duty, we don't know what that's going to look like. It'll be on the Switch, but how good will it be? What's it? And the thing that comes to mind is MLB The Show. That was a PlayStation exclusive. Now it's on Xbox and Switch. But I mean, the Switch one, it's a little gross.
It's there. You can say it's there, but it's not there.
So it is a concern that you should have and think about and maybe work that into a contract. But like there are ways around this. And offering 10-year deals does not mean you're going to get what you want out of it. So, All right. Drew, come back, Drew. You good?
I'm here. Doing homework. You did a lot of research, John. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Okay. All right. Last thing I want to talk about, Justin, I have been listening to your show for maybe a couple months after the Switch came out. I remember where I was. I was in a co-working space. It was pretty boring, and the Switch had come out, and I was like, I wonder if there's any Nintendo podcasts about the Switch, and I found your show, and I became a fan of your show. Here's the question. I have watched you change your gaming habits. When we started off, you played Donkey Kong games, Mario games, Breath of the Wild, which you never finished, which is alarming. You are very much a social gamer now. You're Fortnite, Overwatch, Apex, you went through all the phases. In fact, you go through the same phases as my kids, especially my older son, because that's all they play is social gaming. How did that come about? Was it really Fortnite on the Switch that kind of brought you over? And talk a little bit about that space.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So I had really never done social online gaming at all before, other than we're connecting on Mario Kart, right? And that would be it. And maybe be on a Zoom call with somebody or a messenger call. Really, Fortnite was the thing that really introduced me to it, and this idea of coming together. And I guess even what would be a little bit earlier than that. There was a long time ago I owned a PlayStation 3. And I had a friend who was out in Medicine Hat, which is about an hour and a half from here. I had another friend who was on the west side of our city. And he'd actually gone through a life event where he had actually lost his wife, and he was raising a kid by himself. And so his time to get together, to go out for a pub, to go out for a movie, we didn't have that any longer, right? He was being a solo dad. So we said, we want to make sure that we're still connecting with him in meaningful ways and kind of keeping him distracted a little bit, right? For what has just occurred in his life. And so all three of us got Destiny, and all three of us had a PlayStation. My wife got me a PlayStation just to play with him. And so we would jump on and we would squad up and just have conversations, right? It wasn't necessarily about what we were rating, but it was like, hey, John, how you doing? What's going on, buddy? Right? Just checking in, like you would on a phone call or a text conversation, but it was allowing to have that conversation and also be around this idea of accomplishing something together. Maybe it's a raid, maybe it's this and that, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was actually kind of my first introduction to it. And I really saw man, that is powerful, right? That is really engaging. And especially in his situation where we were not able to be together, this was a good avenue to be able to engage that. Fast forward over to Fortnite, where it came out, and all of a sudden I started exploring this game, and I was like, oh wow, there is duos, there's trios, there's whole squads. I was like, oh wow, this dynamically changes things. And so I started, realizing man, I love playing games. I love playing games with people, but my kids don't want to play some of these games together, right? They're playing other games. They're not as developed. My wife, we only got one device or whatever that is. So wow, this becomes an opportunity for me to just really connect with others that I don't play games with. I can't sit beside Marty play couch co-op with him.
Right.
I can't build that relationship in that way, but we can join up in Fortnite and build that relationship and have fun that way. And that's a shared event, right? Like those times of like, hey, do you remember that time we went to a movie together? Oh my God, that was so funny. And then you got super drunk and puked. Oh my God. Right. Like those, but now it's, oh my God, do you remember we went to Tilted Towers and like I saved you because you're getting destroyed? Remember that? Yeah. Cause I'm awesome and you're not. Right. Like it dynamically changed the relationship. And I thought, man, that is so interesting. So I really had not played online socialized gaming until Fortnite. And then Fortnite became this kind of gateway to Apex Legends, right? And then this other and transitioned into Overwatch as well. And for me, what it really just turned out to being is like as a dad, my gaming time was short. And you know, you're not picking up your device and going to somebody's house and sitting beside them and playing. So just how do I still create that space? And so really moving in. So I'm when I do play online gaming, like socially, squatting up, it's with people I know, right? I mean, you join teams with random people, obviously. Like if you look at Overwatch, Drew, great example. You jump on and these are 4 people you don't know. But like, listen, if you're starting to run your lips and I don't like you, I'm just muting you. I don't need to hear you, right? But I'm also happy to be in like conversation, like, hey, what's going on? Oh, nice job, great job, right? Coaching and encouraging. But like when I do my gaming, it's typically with a friend that I know, right? And it's just like we're gonna game, but like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? That's our pub. That's our platform, right? To be able to socially connect. And so it's been a really interesting experience, and I've just really enjoyed it actually.
And when did Fortnite come out on Switch? Because that had to have coincided. I guess
first
it came
year,
out before...
2017. It was leaked before E3. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been running. It was funny. I was talking to a person today. I've been running almost 6 years of Fortnite, and I've completed every single season, every single battle pass.
It's your Switch sports.
It really is
sports on a whole new level.
It is, right? and you know, we've had times where, you know, my friend has come over here, Jeff, and we've set up 2 screens down here and played together. That's awesome. That's also not manageable sometimes, right? So hey, just jump on. And but that also becomes our common touch point of communication, as opposed to like, hey, did you see The Last of Us? Or hey, did you do this? You see this hockey game? Hey, did you see the latest trailer for the new season? Hey, oh man, do you want to jump on tonight and do this thing together? Right? Like it's been a really fascinating journey, I think, with it. I've really enjoyed it. And of course, I think, and I see some of the questioning here, like, sure, sometimes I jump on and you get trolled with people, right? And that's part of it. And sometimes I've jumped on and like, I've had some people just say really just mean and things that like if you're like, not my friend, but like for Overwatch, a great example, I've joined squads and people are just like, I can't believe how sucky you are. And you're like, get out of here. Right? Like how do I mute you? And I've sometimes engaged back, and that doesn't end well. And also like that's the first time I've ever dealt with like internet or you know, online bullying or toxicity. And I'm like, I don't like this. Like I can kind of understand why Nintendo doesn't really encourage these things. And so it's been a journey.
That's awesome. You know, and you know, another side of the fence, right, of it is that you know, you guys in the Discord community from Nintendo Dads has been a huge part of it, right? And that's where John and I first started chatting a little bit. But to believe it or not, John and I really didn't start becoming friends until Diablo 2.
Diablo 3.
No, I'm sorry, Diablo 3. And John and I, again, linked up. Hey, John, want to go do a dungeon tonight? John, want to go do this? And that's, to your point, is like you meet new people. You know, now we have a podcast together for over 3 years. It's like, wow, like what happened?
Yeah.
You know, it's I
think it's so funny because I think we grew up in, and I think in some ways still, like the internet is a scary place generation, right? Like you don't know who's behind the keyboard. And I agree. And I want to be very clear here. Parents, if you're listening, you really don't know who's behind those keyboards, right? But when you get to a certain age where you're able to be responsible and make appropriate decisions, right? Like you can figure out, Drew, who's behind that keyboard potentially, right? Like, John, let's be on a call. Let's meet together, or, you know, video chat or whatever is cool. And you can, like, it's not uncommon to build relationships, genuine friendships with people that you never see.
Correct.
Right. And I think that's a really interesting part of our world now. And there are obviously risks to that, right? Like, let's not, you know, sugarcoat that. And there are risks, especially to children along those areas as well. And people that are out there. But yeah, it's so, I always say the corner of the internet. Right? Like you found a corner of the internet and connect. I never met Jesse. I never met Marty, never met Tim before we jumped on a podcast together. And these are people I talk to every single day.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like that's an interesting relationship. Right. Yeah. And like, I remember the first time I met Gary Gray, I was flying over to England and I'm like, I didn't have a place to stay. He's like, well, why don't you stay at my place? And so I said to my wife, hey, I'm going to go hang out with Gary. And she's like, So you only know him from like online, right? I was like, yeah. You're gonna stay at his house? Yeah.
Yep.
And she's like, well, what if Gary's a murderer? I was like, well, then this is a short conversation, isn't it, honey? Right? Like, I was like, then we'll see what happens. I don't know, right? Like, then if that's the case,
money, it's an acceptable risk.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just those kind of things that you do, right? But man, it's been a journey of just cool relationships.
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, speaking of relationships, we have some listener questions we want to run through.
Sure.
First one is from Skinny Matt. Have you seen the Darkest Dungeon tabletop game? He dropped a link to this Darkest Dungeon tabletop game. I would just say, I've talked about this in the past. I fucking loved Darkest Dungeon, and I played 40 hours of that game, but I could not beat that game because of the mechanics of death in the game and the fact that even if you beat it, you have to beat it 4 times and you can't use those characters again. It's fucking crazy. It has one of the coolest art styles in a game. I love it. And it's kind of like turn-based. And man, when you attack and you hit, the sound effect is like the dopamine hit is amazing. You just like, bam, and then they kill the guy and you're like, it's like Fire Emblem. But I don't have any interest in this tabletop game. Does anybody have interest in this tabletop game?
I just clicked the link you sent me. I think I'm watching a trailer of the actual game. Confused me.
You should try Darkest Dungeon, Drew. Like I said, I didn't like the ending of it, but it is addictive and fun.
I do like tabletop games. I'll have to take a look at this later and possibly, but I do like good tabletop games.
They bring that art style across too.
Yeah, the problem with these types of big, awesome games is they're like, oh man, I'd love to try that, but you need your guys' kids are a little bit older than mine.
Yeah,
but you need people. You need batch of your buddies, right? Like if you had 4 buddies, and you once a month, it's going to be board game night, and these are the type of games you're going to play. That would be awesome. It's just an alternative to playing Fortnite, right? It's just another.
And it's funny actually, Drew. The guy that I always play Fortnite and Overwatch with, Jeff, he also is a big board game guy. Yeah. Right. So our families come together on like a Saturday, on Sunday night actually, typically, and we'll do like just a bunch of board games and appetizers. And so this would be like right up our wheelhouse.
That's awesome.
Sweet. Next question from Chris HL 94. Is NHL 94? No, I'm kidding. Are you guys filling out a March Madness bracket this year? Drew is.
I'm not. I am a big gambler. I used to do it a lot. The problem is basketball season lines up with hockey season, and I'm just always too busy, and I'm not focusing enough on basketball. And I just found that like all these pools you join, it's just it was a waste of money. And I'm the guy that just gambled probably $300 on a Players Championship this week. So like you talked to the wrong guy about wasting money, but I was just like, I'm just throwing, even if it was $25 to fill out a bracket. And then I don't want to sound like I'm a gambler, like I have a problem, but the problem is when you are a gambler, if you like, there's no point in filling out a bracket if I'm not going to bet on it. It's as sad as that sounds. Like, I don't care if I fill out a bracket. What if I get the whole thing right? And then I'm like, fuck, I didn't put any money on that. So I'm the opposite.
I'm the opposite of you. Free fantasy football, I'm all for, man.
See, I hate free fantasy football.
It's nice. I'm going to lose. You actually have hope to win. I know I'm going to lose, so I won't lose anything on it.
Well, that's my take.
It's fantastic.
Long answer for the short answer is I am not filling one out.
Is it a thing in Canada, Justin?
I think, not for me. It's not. I know there are people who are like huge basketball fans, but I'm not. Probably more in like the Toronto area, maybe Vancouver, right? But yeah, like I'm not.
It's weird to think that there's a bunch of Canadians that follow American collegiate basketball.
Yeah, definitely not. No.
Yeah, and I don't follow it. I've never followed college basketball. I used to follow college football a little bit, but I wait till everyone's a pro.
Yeah, that's fair.
Final question. Solo Something has a question for Justin. Can Justin tell us about some of his background in voice recording? Does he have a background in voice or stage acting? I'm just trying to visualize that. It's funny. Has he done any voices in video games?
Sure. So I'll actually give a bit of an insight there, Solo Something. So despite what people might think, my actual I hold 2 degrees, and my first degree is actually in theater.
Wow.
So I hold a Bachelor of Arts in theater and studied for 6 years So I've done a lot of onstage theater production and I'll for our university and then for our community. But I also recognize that does not make me money or pay bills. So I don't do a lot of it. So I actually did a lot of, I went to school to be a theater teacher. I always had passion in theater. And realized that was something that interested me, but just didn't get my teaching degree. So I had a theater degree, and that was tough to make money. In regards to the voice acting component of it, I've always been interested in being a voice actor, and so I've also been very interested in doing radio before, which is also sort of one of the reasons why the podcast came together. Is I was like, well, I can't do a radio station here in my own local community, so why don't I just have my own radio station called Nintendo Dads, right? And so that's so there was this idea behind that. Voice acting has always interested me, and so a couple of years ago, I said let's just actually stop talking about it and actually do something about it. And I was really fortunate. I used kind of my social media and put out there hey, looking to get some help on starting a voice career and voice acting. And can anyone help me out? And I had some people who contacted me and had some other contacts and put me in the right direction. And so I work with a company in Calgary who I get sent scripts fairly often, probably once or twice a month, and audition for commercial work. And sometimes I'm accepted and sometimes I'm not. It's all depending on what they're looking for and how I audition. And so I've done one full paid commercial for a company, which has been great. And then I've done some kind of on a bigger stage, and then I've done some local commercials here in Lethbridge as well for a company, and done some other trailers and voiceover for people who are in a pinch. It's just something that I was just you know what? I've got the infrastructure here. I've got the mics and all the stuff that I need for it. Why not give it a shot? And I've taken some classes and lessons and just to kind of continue to do it. I mean, it's, there's no risk, right? It is literally, I sit here, there's a script, I read a script, I submit it. If you like it and you want me, brilliant. If you don't want me, that's okay. I don't get an email back. Moving on. But it's, I'd love to be voiceover for a video game. I actually did. It was very cool. I was actually casted in a video game that was being developed at one point. And then the video game got scrapped. So I never got any money from it because the video game never came to fruition. But I ended up recording all my lines and sessions for them. And
was it called Silk Song?
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely Silk Song. It was called Tears of the Kingdom. You'll hear me as Gandalf or Ganondorf. So yeah, that's sort of how it works. But I'm just kind of keep doing it when I can.
I sent a little image to our group chat, if you can take a look at that. And while you're doing that,
sure.
My wife actually majored in theater, which is so funny because my wife is so shy. I can't believe that she would major in theater. I can't imagine her wanting to be on stage for anything ever. But she actually has a degree in theater, which is crazy. And I always make fun of theater nerds. I find them just repulsive, but I love them at the same time. And it's one of the reasons why I have watched Barry, because of I don't know if it's just season 1 or whatever, but the theater nerds, theater nerds. The only thing worse than theater nerds are music nerds. People are like, oh, why don't you come over to my house? We'll jam. I can't stand it. It's not, I can't do it. No. So I sent, did you get this graphic, Justin?
Yep. I did. Okay. Yep.
So this is a line. Justin, I want you to use your voiceover chops, and I want you to give this scene the best you can.
Come on, Mario! Mushroom Kingdom, here we go!
Killed it!
Love it!
Killed it!
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, voiceover stuff seems like it'd be a heck of a lot of fun.
That is
awesome. And so I'll say, if anyone's looking for voiceover work, please let me know. Send me a message. Happy to do stuff.
We got to do a Justin Masson voiceover read. We'll just add it to our show.
Right? Yeah, voiceover. And that's the funny part. If you listen to John Wall's show. So thank you, SideQuest. That was a great example. He's like, "Do you do VVO still?" I was like, "Yeah, send me a script." And that was even your guys' opener, right? Listen, I'm not asking for money. I just like a bit of fun, right? And so here are 10 different reads of my thing. Use what you want, right? Some of it is, I'll always give the scripted one, right? You're listening to the Midlife SideQuest, and here's John Wall, and then I'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest asshole that I know, John Wall, the Midlife SideQuest, right? And so have some fun with it as well, and you give people what they want.
We might go with you, Justin. If Sadie's rates have been going up.
British woman Sadie is her rate. Her rates are expensive now. We found it when she was cheap.
Really? Yeah, come on, guys, come on.
All right, I think that's going to wrap up our show. Justin, this was great.
Yes.
I haven't seen you on Nintendo Dads in a few weeks, so I feel like I got my Justin Phil now on like a private show.
Good.
Yeah.
And there is a rumor right now in your Discord chat that there's an acquisition and that I've left Nintendo Dads, or this is my farewell tour, which I think is really quite funny because I have not been on the show for a while.
We're the Phil Spencers this time.
Yeah, right. Life has just been keeping me, to be honest, and people have asked like what's going on. Life is just right now is in a busy season and I'm trying to make space and just can't. And so I'm hoping to be back eventually. So
nice.
We know you'll be
thank
there.
you for having me. This is an amazing time. Again, thank you guys for being an awesome part of our community. I absolutely love both of you. You guys are so fantastic, so grateful. Yeah, thank you for letting me play in your sandbox for a couple hours.
Well, yeah. and thank you. If you ever need to just get a couple fucks out, you're always welcome to come on and just let it loose. That's why we're here.
Just
perfect.
We'll just play it. We don't mute here. We're no Jessies.
Right. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, John, what do we have coming up over the next few weeks?
We have a great next couple weeks. Coming out March 14th. So today when you hear this, March 13th. So tomorrow, The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. I know a lot of people are really excited about that one. It's coming out. March 15th, we said it earlier, Ted Lasso Season 3 begins.
Yes.
March 17th, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, the prequel to the Bayonetta series. Can't wait for that. March 22nd, total Drew game right here. Have a Nice Death.
Yep, I'll be down.
Drew, you and I need to chat about that one because I am also super excited about that one.
We will have to have a chat.
Looks good. Storyteller comes out March 23rd. We've seen that on a couple of indie directs. Looks interesting. March 24th. Oh, God, I'm going to butcher this. Where's James? I need James. Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. March 24th. Like that's a big popular series. Going off switch here, Resident Evil 4 remake will hit like an atomic bomb March 24th. I know the demo's out for that already, but that is going to be a big one. The best Resident Evil game ever. And happy to say the most important thing is after the show is over, the final episode of The Last of Us on HBO.
Yeah, it's out right now. I need to go watch it.
I'll actually be watching it in the morning because it's 10:30 and I'm waking up at 4:30. So I'll be watching it at 5 a.m.
You're watching it at 5 a.m.? Where? At work?
What? Before work, I'll watch it.
Before work? Oh, why do you wake up so early if you're going to watch an entire episode of The Last of Us?
I have to get my daughter on this bus tomorrow. So
okay.
Tomorrow I'm working home for like 2 hours.
The shortest episode ever. It's like 45 minutes.
Is it?
Really?
Yeah, it's like the shortest of all the runs.
I don't think there's a ton to cover in it, but I'm really curious to see. They said there's going to be some stuff going on, maybe some difference from the game, so I can't wait to see. Literally, I'll be watching it in 5 minutes. I can't wait.
Woo.
All right.
That's
That was awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
Justin.
guys. Bye-bye.
The Dads After Dark show is part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available, including Google, Overcast, Spotify, and Stitcher. And if you're using Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Pretty please? Be sure to join us on the Nintendo Dads Discord in our Dads After Dark channels for some naughty After Dark talk. Leave us a voicemail with Anchor and we'll play it on our next show. Check our podcast description for the link. Follow us on Twitter and now TikTok at @NDadsAfterDark or email us at dadsafterdarkshow@gmail.com. And a big thank you to Family Jewels for our show's music. That's all for tonight. Good night, Dads. Sweet dreams.
Hey folks, Dads After Dark is part of the Nintendo Dads After Dark line of podcasts, which means the content, it's not necessarily PG, it's not necessarily kid-friendly. So, yeah, you've been warned. Enjoy! Dads After Dark is part of the Nintendo Dads After Dark production, which means it's after dark, which means your kids maybe should be in bed. because this isn't appropriate content for them. And I don't want to judge parenting. I'm not judging parenting. You do you. But, yeah. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, it's Justin, and this is the Nintendo Dads Presents Dads After Dark production. It's an After Dark production, folks, which means, it's a little bit languagey. It's a bit cursy, maybe topics that you don't want. They don't curse as much as sometimes I do. Listen, I get your feedback. I get it, all right? So just a little bit of viewer discretion. Just be aware of that, all right? Enjoy. Hey, folks. Dads After Dark is part of the Nintendo Dads After Dark suite of podcasts, which means the topics are sometimes not necessarily child-friendly. So if you're listening to their usual show with the family, the kids, that's cool. This may not be one of those shows that you want to do with the kids and the family. This is kind of for the mums, the dads, people who are old enough to vote and maybe buy booze. That's a safe assumption or rule there. Okay, well, enjoy. Hey folks, Dads After Dark is a show for dads and mums after dark, which means it's content that's not necessarily PG friendly. Not saying it's horrible content, it's just not necessarily PG friendly. May not want to be listening with the kiddos, you know what I'm saying? May not want to be in the family van driving around to the soccer game listening to this show. You can definitely do that. Again, I ain't here to judge you. You do you. But, yeah, Dads After Dark. Enjoy! Hey, folks, this is Dads After Dark. There's cursing. There's talk of adult content and behavior. Sometimes adult jokes. So, your decision. I think it's good content, but it's, not necessarily family friendly, not necessarily PG. This is not Disney stuff, right? So... yeah. All right. So you've been warned. All right. Enjoy. Bye. All right. This is Dads After Dark. If you've listened to shows like Mega Dads, this is probably okay for you. All right. Like that, that kind of content, that lewd humor, some swear words every once in a while. If you like that content, I'm sure you're going to like this content more. All right. This is Dads After Dark. Enjoy. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Dads After Dark. This is for the mums, the dads, the kiddos are in bed. This is just you relaxing. Maybe you're at your desk. I don't know. Maybe there's no little people around with new ears who might learn words that you don't want them to learn yet. Or ask you very difficult questions that you as a parent do not want to explain because you heard something on a podcast, which normally was like a parent-friendly podcast, which is a family-friendly podcast that you listen to with your family in the van going to soccer matches. And now instead you have to have some very uncomfortable conversations with your children. This show is not good for kids necessarily, but enjoy. Dads After Dark. What do I got? The viewer discretion part, it's kind of in the title. Dads, nothing wrong with dads, After Dark. There it is. Boom. After Dark, meaning viewer discretion is advised. Sure, look it, you've been warned. Moving forward, listen, hey. You choose to move forward with this podcast and you hear content or words that you do not find appropriate. Do not email me. Do not at me on Twitter. We're not going to have any of that, all right? You made a decision. I warned you for it beforehand. You chose this. You move forward. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with the content. I don't think there's anything wrong with the show. But I'm saying, you've been warned. Enjoy. Dads After Dark is a After Dark show. All right, folks? Meaning there is some content that you may not be appropriate for little ears. All right? So if that is you... now may be the time to turn on. If that's not you, you're like, hey, I don't care, right? I want to listen to some dads off the chain, having some real conversations. Boom. Welcome to the right place. Welcome to Dads After Dark. Enjoy.